up, let me make sure everything is working. Let's check Twitch real quick. Let me actually mute you before we start getting double of my voice. Cool, it is running. Let me just make sure it's picking up, responding to things, and we will be all good. Holy, my stream is delayed a little. Oh well. Sick it is. Let me check something else real quick before I get going. Because I'm just curious of some stuff. Yeah, this might be... Yeah, this is an interesting time or day to do this, I'm now realizing. But, yeah, who cares? Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff with streaming. Everyone is doing faster some tourneys, but oh well. I don't mind. Let me update on Blue Sky real quick, and then I'll get going. Okay, now we pull you up real quick, and everything should be good to go, I hope? Should be. Let's get this started. So for a lot of this review, I'm mainly going to just be focusing on a lot of the stuff that I can see on a macro level. I can't give as much depth because there aren't people in call with me, which, that is a-okay. I want to see what these comms are, because I'm fairly sure... Okay, double bucket is interesting. I'm going to ramble about some stuff that I don't typically do, because I can... Hi, Microwave! Because I can ramble on this, because it's just stream and so I actually kind of want to break down this comp, because it's morning for me, it's 11. You can say morning. It's close enough to morning if you're PST, given it's 10. Or that's not true. If it's 10, or if you're actually PST, wouldn't it be like 9 for you right now? I'm thinking PDT for what it would be. 10, yeah, I think it would be 9 if you're PST. So like, it's morning somewhere. You're allowed to say that. You sure mindset? No, I swear that's how that works. Okay, apparently my... But if it's 1, you have to be CST or you have to be EDT. Or not that, yeah, no, you'd have to be EDT for it to be 1, because I'm MDT. Like, the only thing that's... Or you could be AST, actually. AST is a possible time zone. Because I'm fairly sure AST is 1 hour ahead of EST. PDT is... Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, more so I was just thinking, I believe PST is 9. Considering it's jumping ahead an hour. And more so, it's 9 AM if you're PST, and there are some regions that should still be PST, so, like, you can say it's morning. It's morning somewhere. You are, in fact, allowed to say that. That was more my point. Anyways, rambling about some stuff. Oops, I didn't want to make that mark. Whatever. I'm not going to focus too hard on the enemy team's comp. Because the enemy team's comp is fine. I don't see anything special with it. I kind of want to ramble about this. Because first thing that I'm seeing is we have a shit ton of weapons that can do, like, 70 damage. And this is valuable because what we can expect to see, or what you would expect to see from something like this is, okay, we're going to have, like, 1 over 70 weapons over here. We're going to have, like, 1 over 70 weapons over here. We can have 1, like, down here if they want to do something fancy. They can be down here if they want to do something fancy. They can be anywhere between these two. Like, the other 70 weapon can do kind of anything. And what you'd expect to see is have Dynamo pushing in and around these. spots, because if their teammates are taking these spots, it's okay, you swing once and they just fucking explode, and you don't have much of an option. The other thing that I'd expect to see from this is just based on their specials. So I'm gonna leave these marks up because I think they are valuable to just point some stuff out with them. First thing that we can expect to see, and that I'd like to see from this, just going into it, is ideally you're gonna want to be using a lot of AoE tools that you have to trap. So like, let's say you throw Booyah back here. This makes sense because what you're wanting to do is force them into, okay, they have to fight in this area which is really, really cramped, and if you take any damage, Dynamo one taps you pretty much. You have some stuff with Reslider, which can do a really similar thing. You have Strikes, which can do a really similar thing. And you have Cooler, which can kind of just aid anything. It's not going to do anything too insane. What I would expect to see... I don't even remember if this game is a win or a loss, so we're all gonna be in for a fun time. But like, what I'd expect to see is if they are pushing, ideally just working around that 70 damage, and if they aren't, if they have to play retake, I'd actually want to see a little bit reversed. I want to see Dynamo taking, or kind of leading offense, because on retake, if it's okay, I get a quick hit, the enemy team should know, hey, I need to back off or just risk dying to a 70. And how they respond to that is obviously up to the enemy team, but it's still more so if Dynamo's going forward and fighting early, the enemy team has to pick it out. It has to pick something. Compared to if the 70s go forward, because on paper it should be the same thing. I don't think it is. Because I think if you have the weapons that do 70 damage and they're going forward, the thing that they're gonna run into is the enemy team isn't as afraid, because they more or less can see when Dynamo is winding up and when Dynamo is gonna do some stuff with that. So it's pretty easy for them to just be like, okay, I can just eat the 70 damage and just parry a Dynamo flick, because if the Dynamo flicks, cool, who cares? It's really not anything that pressing. Excuse me, I wanted to close Epic Pen for a second. Someone just DM'd me. Let's see real quick. Oh, that's fine. I can worry about that later. Okay. But yeah, that's more or less what I'd expect to see. And from the enemy team, just because we can guess on comp, you'd expect to see something similar, but not quite the same. Because if you notice with their comp, a lot of what they can do is similar-ish in damage values, where a lot of them can do like 60 to 70 damage pretty quickly. The thing that they don't have is they don't have something that's going to continuously, like, or that hits a wide area, or is just going to wipe the enemy team for taking that damage. So they have to be playing a little more off of damage pairing and syncing with each other, compared to the other team that I'll be reviewing in teal. They really only have to worry about getting things set up for that Dynamo. Anyways, let's see what happens. Let's see. This isn't bad. I like this rollout. Also, I'm going to point out, just because it's making me laugh, you can see already pushing for left side, trying to set this up, already trying to push for right side, trying to set this up. I can tell it's not quite their intent, because it feels like they're setting something else up, but they still are going for this. I think the big thing on this is just where are you trying to focus? Because Stamper down here is kind of getting left alone. And I understand why, however, everything on elbow here can rotate forward. Why is it pink right now? Wait, no, that's right, I was last using pink, I was going to lose my mind. Look, they can rotate this way and try to help, especially with Dynamo. You can rotate through mid and try to fight back here. Because something with flanks that isn't talked about a ton with something like this is flanks, or it's not even a flank, it's just taking a very different off-angle split from your team. If you get isolated down here, it really puts your team in a weird position. If the enemy team overcommits, great, but they still have to commit to fight the two down here eventually. Which can just be really messy, because if they're slow, because look, at this point, if they're doing what I'm going to say, they'd already be too slow. Let's say Dynamo rotates forward because they're wanting to take a fight up here, or any of them do. If these two on the enemy team commit forward, kill a healer, and then instantly start rotating back, they're going to be in a very awkward spot. Because Dynamo's pushing up to here, but they're going to just get, they're going to end up getting collapsed on two different angles. And really just pinched. Like, there's no way you can live this. It's actually why I advocate not to drop right side a ton. Like, I understand why I would honestly just typically recommend going through center like this, if you want to go right side. Because it just makes it a little easier for your team to respond with you. Even if it makes it a little harder on your end individually. Let's see. Yeah, and if you notice, that's actually kind of just what happens. Like, healer can't get any aid here, and everyone was stuck on elbow, which made their life harder. Like, I'd say on this end, really the only thing that they can do, or they should do differently, is like not sit on elbow. Which I know that's obvious, and it's kind of a thing of, oh well, with hindsight, obviously, but like the big reason in thing that I can see, like even here, of why they shouldn't be is right now the enemy team has more of mid. Like if we were to draw a line of where each team can impact, they can impact to here, and the enemy team can impact roughly to here pretty comfortably. Um, if you are trying to stay here, it's way easier for the enemy team to respond to you and deal with you, compared to if you go forward and take the fight to them, they have to fight on your terms a little bit. It's a really small thing, but like you aren't giving them the advantage of they're dictating where the fight happens and when it happens, because that's kind of what's going to lead to the collapse. Like I can just open the graph, yeah, 3 go down pretty quick. I didn't even realize the third went down. It's just kind of in that spot, it's really hard to actually get anything out of it. Because like if you notice in this case, Stamper literally just commits forward, takes the fight, cool. Healer got dropped because they couldn't get any help from their team. And then in this case, Bucket just gets nuked, yeah. And then there's a jump. Like this is basically a full-on wave. And it's really just a thing of on this stage, if you can, it feels risky, especially because there's like 2 different thresholds. Actually, I think there's 3 in this, because there's a threshold here, which is really easy to want to be like, oh, I can just sit here. There's a kind of narrow threshold that's here, and for some reason I don't think the threshold exists if you're going right side. And then going through mid, there's kind of a threshold somewhere in this general vicinity. It's weird. Okay, yeah, there's a threshold here-ish, which is weird, but it's mirrored on this side. So like there's 3 different thresholds they have to cross through, which is just mentally taxing. But if you can cross through it, it really does make your life a lot easier. And the big thing that happened is they just didn't ever want to cross it, and it just let the enemy team in for free, more or less. If you can, just setting up in mid to just prevent them from being able to have options is just ideal. And like this isn't, oh yeah, this is HDI propaganda. Like this is just, if you're trying to play defense, the further up you can play typically, the better. Like in this case, healer can probably save themselves going this way. I'd like to see Bucket probably going over to here. Like, yes, the enemy team has some range, but Bucket can hit out to here pretty comfortably, if I'm not mistaken, on range values. And if you pair that with healer, right side's really hard for them to contest. And Bucket can back off pretty easily. Bucket can push up to here pretty comfortably as long as it doesn't die to pen in the first few shots. And I'm not even saying you have to take that. Like, even staying here is fine. Ideally, you want Dynamo up to here, though, because similar thing, you're just going to use, okay, this range is up to here. And as I was talking about earlier, Dynamo is really the main enforcer of the comp. So if Dynamo is like positioned here, it shuts down the entirety of mid. Or not the entirety, but it shuts down their half of mid at least, which makes it hard for the enemy team to want to do something. Or it makes it hard to do it safely. Yeah, like if you notice, Dynamo goes forward, and the issue is they back off. That's actually kind of what gets them killed, is they back out of their angle. Like I understand why it feels like something that I noticed in a lot of players, and I had this issue, is movement in this game is just fun, and it's very tempting to just move for the sake of moving. Like if Rare stayed here realistically instead of rotating back slightly, you just flick here again. At worst, you die to pen, but like you're gonna trap these 2, you're gonna chip them, and if your teammates rotate over like this is what you'd want to see from Bucket, assuming Dynamo is flicking, which is again what they should do. Cool, you clear the right side really easily. And it just makes your life easy. Like in this case, big thing that happened on opening is Rare was just playing way too far back. Too far back in at an angle, which, yeah. Let's see what happens. This is fine, I don't hate this. I'm gonna talk about some stuff because there's 2 different things that I can talk about here, and I'm gonna just lightly hit both, because I want to point out something of playing for cooler. Because there's 2 ways that you can view cooler. You can view cooler as okay, this is a failsafe if something goes wrong on a push, so it makes sense to have it. And playing for that makes sense. But you can also view it as, in playing for cooler, you're taking time away from being able to set up further up. And I'm not going to say one is better or one is worse. I just want to talk about the differences of them. Um, can you explain what you mean, micro? Because asking is chip important enough to die for is kind of all over. There's a lot of things you can answer with that. I assume given context, you mean Dynamo chip, considering its flings are a little inconsistent. Um, but I'm still curious what you mean in that regard. Um, I'll be honest, considering this comp, I'd say yeah, it is important enough to die for. Cause like realize with this, like let's say Dynamo just kamikazes, right? And let's just say this gets hit with damage and this gets hit with damage. Um, at this point, these two have to stay back and heal up, or just risk dying to any of these three chip weapons, or not chip weapons, but any of these weapons that can do 70 damage. Um, so it makes it really hard for these two weapons to want to go forward and take a fight. And if Dynamo just goes forward, swings, and any of the 70 weapons are ready for it, it just is more or less instant death. Um, like you can say I don't think it's as inconsistent as you'd think. I think some of the inconsistencies can also be mitigated by like not jumping, staying grounded, aiming level. Like is it inconsistent? Yeah, a little bit, but like inherently this game is also a little inconsistent. Like RNG is a part of the game. Um, and yeah, I know in this case, besides for like some niche scenarios, Dynamo's really the only weapon with RNG. But like, if you look at shooters and dualies and some stuff, they all have some innate RNG. Um, I think the play itself is consistent enough to where it makes sense to go for. Sorry, I was thinking of where I was because I got sidetracked. Also, if you want to keep asking about it, please do. I will just bounce between the two. But I want to talk about here because I'm looking at this and I can see some signs where if I'm playing Dyna, I'd question playing for core. Because in this case, the enemy team isn't up to elbow. And like I'm gonna do the boring thing, and we're gonna use some colors that I don't typically use. Where is white? There we are. So we know for zone, there's kind of the obvious thing of how to win. Because we have the zone itself. You have to control zone to win, which obvious thing is obvious. I know. Then you have the hot zones. Hot zones are more or less where can the enemy team impact zone. And then obviously you have some stuff that I would bring up and I think is just as important of the perimeter. This is where the enemy team can realistically use specials to start getting in. Realistically, I think this is a bit further back, but yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It's accurate enough to where I'm not worried. And in this case, if we are, why am I blanking on this team? On the team name, I want to say it's like 3/4 full course. Um, team on the left. Like if we know this, and we know that the enemy team isn't doing anything to force us out of, or like prevent us from getting to hot zones, like being in the perimeter. If you get the chance, taking up to the perimeter makes your life easier. Because now you can take here, start pushing them back. And from there, it's okay if we have any specials, because like in this case, you already have a reef slider. Cool. You can reef slider left side, and now you're already getting into zone. Um, like I'm not gonna say it's terrible to play for special here, because on the flip side, like playing for cooler here, makes sense because it's okay. We're expecting the enemy team should be pushing up to here now. If we have cooler, what's gonna happen is cool. We can brute force through the perimeter, take a fight. If we trade out like 2-2, let's just say we trade out these weapons. Cool, we trade out 2-2. We these two members are going to respawn much faster than these two will, so it's a lot easier for us to get back in. Um, both have their arguments. I think in this case, I would advocate for pushing forward, just because we already know the big thing with this comp, or with their comp is Dynamo. Like adding any damage from Dynamo just makes it very easy to win fights. Um, so if you can get to here and apply any chip in this general vicinity, cool. As long as your teammates are with you, that's really easy to retake from, even without specials. Um, anyways, rambling because I'm seeing that. Let's see. This is fine. I don't hate this. Uh, something I'll point out. I don't even hate playing for specials because I understand the idea here. I would be trying to focus on at least preventing them from getting past here. Because like in this case, the buckets can push up to here pretty comfortably, and nothing has good sightlines on them. And the big thing with that is if you can apply force, it makes it so the enemy team can't get further in because they aren't in a good spot to actually hold. And like, yeah, if we open the graph, I just was curious. You can see things go wrong for them because they played in the special. Like, they end up getting this retake, but I'm gonna be honest, looking at this, it feels like they get the retake just because they saved their specials for zone, compared to fighting in. And I'm curious if this holds. I like this Wiper going in. This is good. Yeah. Which, if you notice, Wiper goes in, forces them out, and now the enemy team is pushing them, like, has pushed into and past the perimeter. So, like, now it is incredibly hard for their team to do something. And, like, yeah, they still die, but, like, at this point, they're in a really messy spot, and only now are they getting an elbow. Like, I think if they pushed for this earlier, it can save them a lot of grief because they don't have to use specials or burn resources to get this far in. Uh, that's unfortunate for Dinah, that's fine. Yeah. You know, I'm correct in this of they mainly get capped because they burn specials on this. Yeah. So they use Reef, they get Pain, and then they more or less strike to get some extra pain. Yeah. I want to see how they play offense. Oh, this is a spotchy this is a weird offense. Oops, I didn't want to pause that. Oh well. I think this is fine, just similar thing we know on our end. For us, we have the zone that we want to control, we have hot zones that we want to control, and we have the perimeter like out to here that we're wanting to control. Um, we know that we want to push for that, and if you can do so, in this case, they have a much easier time because they can sit like 3 weapons right here where Dread is, and just rain terror on this general area just using gravity. Um, and same thing, if you wanted to set one of those weapons like down here, they can pretty comfortably just rain terror up to here. Ideally, honestly, you pair both. Like put Dinah down here, because if you put Dinah down here, that shit is hard to kill. And hard to deal with. And then you put probably Bucket over here, and you have Dread and Stamper try to find a way in, with that force. Um, just big thing is setting up something with offense and just using, hey, 3 of us have gravity. Like Dinah and the Buckets have gravity that they can absolutely use to their advantage. Because like what I'm predicting, just knowing what we do from the graph, is probably what's going to happen here is one of these people on the right side are going to die, just because there's nothing stopping them from the enemy team from coming through mid. And maybe, Dread dies over here, because there's really nothing helping to guard Dread. And I'm curious how this will play out, but yeah, there's that Dread death. Like, yeah, they do end up just killing and going net even. Just at this point, the enemy team is much more set up than they are, which makes it really hard for them to push back in. Because, there's kind of a few things with being set up and pushing and all of that. But if the enemy team can get set up before you're set up for your own push, it makes it, like, infinitely harder. Not impossible, obviously, but it makes it a lot harder. Compared to, hey, if we know ahead of time how our comp wants to play, let's take these areas early, and just set up some stuff with fights with it. Good, I like Dynamo on left, I honestly just wish it was playing around gravity more. This is good. This should set up a consistent hold. That Reef is unfortunate, but that's fine. It should die. That's fine. I think Healer is focusing way too much on taking this fight. Like, I understand why, but the big thing here is forcing them away from his zone, more so than just winning the fight. And now Healer and Rare, which at this point is kind of just getting picked off. I like Dynamo staying on the side. I think if you want to stay on this side, you kind of just have to commit to fighting, because it feels like Rare is wanting to stall, compared to fight. And the big reason I say that is, like, staying in ink, throwing your cooler, positioning, staying on the wall. Like, right here, if you wanted to, I think, cool, you drop your cooler, you know you're gonna respawn fast. Run down either the pen or run down the right side. And just look for damage. And the timing of that is actually kind of helpful, because your team is going to be coming in through here pretty soon. So if you run through here and you just take the most direct fight you can, your teammate is now getting into this range where they can apply damage. Cool. And you're in range to hit anything for 70. You have cool, or not 70. You hit anything for like any damage, considering Dyna minimums. Besides for some fall off, but like minimum is more or less 40. You can expect that to be pretty consistent. You hit any damage buckets now here. They're hitting all the way out to here. And like all of these three weapons are like at instant risk of dying, and you have cooler to be back fast. Um, you can also use cooler to jump over. I don't love that, but I understand why someone would do it. But hell, you can even just go in, throw a sprinkler to take a single shot, jump over to your teammate, and you have a similar impact. There's a lot of options. I just don't think staying there is the right option if you want to come into a fight. Because yeah, they kind of just get collapsed immediately, and the rest of their team is only now an elbow. Y'all give up that elbow way too easily. Good lord. Like, sorry, I'm looking at this, and this is like the third time now where y'all have backed up through your own threshold to here. And almost just given them elbow for free. Like, if this stamp was swapped a little further back, that just forces in. If Dread wants to commit in, y'all have just given up so much space. Like, the ideal thing that you can do if you can, or that you want to do, is make them burn resources just to push you back, and then fall back. Because, like, let's say you're positioned here, cool. I'm gonna disregard Stamp because Stamp is a little weird. Like, if the enemy team wants this area and they're like, okay, fuck it, we're gonna reef in and we're just gonna explode and cover out to here with damage, cool. And this is where you fall back to here, and then you rotate forward as soon as it explodes. It feels like you're trying to back up preemptively of, okay, we can expect them to push and do something here, and then you're falling back, compared to, okay, they're giving us a reason to fall back, and now we will. Because keep in mind, you're wanting to wait for them to commit something. Because if they don't commit something, you really don't have a reason to need to go back. There's a few things you can do, like if they have 4 specials, falling back then makes some sense. But if you're falling back at the threat of something, what happens when they actually commit with that, with the space that you've given them by falling back? That's kind of the big thing. Here's that reef, yep. Nothing dies. Oh my god. Oh. Sorry, I'm just looking at this position in reverse, and I'm like, if the enemy team had a dynamo, y'all were so fucked. Because you gave up so much space, and all I can imagine is just a dynamo sitting right here and saying, fuck it, we ball. Like, getting up to here, and just swinging once, and suddenly, like, you're 3 down. That's kind of why you don't want to back up that much. Yeah, no, like, this is such a bad position if you're... for this team. Yeah, like, you're kind of stuck in a point of... Like, you're trying to just have to recover from this. Like, I'm gonna let this play out because I've talked about a good chunk of this. I honestly think, from what I've seen so far, y'all are just gonna repeat the same thing, or the same thing just gets repeated. Good, they die. Y'all need to start pushing elbow. That's fine. I don't hate healer flanking, actually. Okay, I love how I was like, oh yeah, I'll just let this play through. Hold up. Did they allow the enemy team to take this space? Because I honestly think it was just kind of bad positioning and just worrying too much, more so than giving up that space because there was a dynamo. Because me pointing out dynamo is to say, if this position was reversed, so like let's say Rare and Healer's team, they were the one doing this in reverse. If they had a dynamo, they could cause mass damage. And they haven't done something to set that up for their own play. The issue was they gave up the that space, and I don't think it was because yeah. Sorry, I just reread your message. It's just bad positioning versus any comp, because like you're giving up space for the sake of space. Like the idea of a threat, not okay. This is actually what's happening. This is actively threatening. It's kind of like anxiety versus stress, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's. I might be mistaking it because there's a few things inside. Like one is this: you're worried about what might happen, and you're worried about what is happening now. They were so worried about what might happen that they were actively making what's happening now worse for them. So when the thing that could happen now happened, it was even worse than it would have been naturally if they just played it normally. Uh, let's see. Oh wait, that's what I was gonna do. I forgot what I was gonna yell about. I because I want to put this flank up from healer because I have seen other people make this mistake. Unironically, this flank is really good. Um, because like at this point, you know the enemy team is in past the perimeter already. So if you can skip wide and they aren't gonna do anything, cool. You rotate to here. You kill Pen, and now they're trapped here. Like you just make a line here and they're trapped. Um, the issue is you pop special. And on paper, popping a special makes sense. It's a good thing. You're gonna force Pen to move, and it makes your life easier. Um, I don't think this fight is unwinnable, especially if we consider Pen doesn't even know you're there, and I'm fairly sure Pen is close to within Stamper's range here. Popping Booyah, all that does is it slows you down for 3 seconds, and it lets the enemy team know where you are. Because, like, I'm gonna let this play out. Pen doesn't know you're there. Pen only now is turning to you the second you rise up in the air with a glowing target because you pop Booyah. And if you notice, Stamper immediately starts to book it back for you. Like, I know that you end up capping here slightly because of it, but, like, I feel you could have just gone back, killed Pen, and you don't even need these two specials, and you can use it to set up for your push. Like, in this case, Stamper is probably just gonna... That's fair. Like, I know Healer doesn't die here, but, like, I think they misplayed anyways, because they gave up that information. This is good. Please just commit all the way in. Just go in. Thank you. This is what we want to see. Why did you back up there? Sorry, my throat was starting to kill me. Let's see. Let me back up a bit. Because I want to find out this was actually incredibly good. Until it wasn't. Because, like, this is fine. We have that Reef go in. We have Reef hit too. This is incredibly good. The thing that I wish happened was in this case. For Rare, if Rare just commits forward, we know Dynamo has the largest swings in damage area on this team right now. If you rotate forward, you just commit in on this Pen. And Pen isn't safe anywhere in this area. I understand why you want to commit back because, oh, it's a jump. Oh, there's all sorts of danger. The thing I would say is trust your team. Like, if you're playing with a group, ideally you want to trust them. In 2 buckets should be able to pretty cleanly deal with a single wiper. Especially with a bomb. Like, I feel Rare overcompensates. Because, like, I'm just going to look at this and I want to pull up the graph because I'm curious. But my prediction here is Rare gave up all of the space that was happening forward to turn back. So now their space is cut off here. Which on paper doesn't sound that different. Like, okay, what's the difference of here to here? But keep in mind, there's a threshold that's right here. And if you can set up early here, you're just kind of set for a push. And you're set for a really good hold. And my prediction is their push probably falls apart in... I don't want to say 10 seconds, that's too quick. I have a feeling the ramifications of this are going to show up 30 seconds from now. Let's see if I'm accurate. So 241... and their push ends at 216. That's close enough. That is close enough to 30 seconds. Because, yeah, they give up that space, and then they're trying to go back now, but, like, it's already such a weird spot. Also, I feel like, pointing out, Rare could have already been on their snipe, which is a way stronger position. But they committed back for Viper, and Viper died in the 2 buckets already. I also think the rest of their team is playing too far back. Like, I appreciate that Rare is playing further up, but, like, the rest of their team should also be playing further up. Because, like, really the worst thing that can happen is, okay, we get damaged, whatever. Like, at this point, everything is set up, and this is really good for Dynamo. Because, okay, Dynamo goes forward, you swing once, this entire area gets hit with chip. Dynamo rotates over to here, and then this entire area gets covered with chip. And if I'm these 3 weapons, I'm like, oh shit, thank you, I just need to hit a single shot now, and they explode. And in this case, they're just kind of playing too far back. Because, like, if you notice, both of the buckets have been playing behind the Dynamo. And compared to, like, in sync with it. And it just makes it really messy. This is fine. Like, they're staying alive, but they gave up so much space. And now they're really just suffering from it. Because, like, really what I think has been happening with this is their team just hasn't been taking advantage of, hey, we're playing Dynamo. We have, like, we're playing the comp we have. We're playing Dynamo, which is going to apply chip, and we're playing 370 damage weapons, which is just going to nuke the enemy team. Um, it feels like they haven't been taking advantage of that, and they're just kind of poking to like it feels like they're doing it in reverse, where they're poking for damage and hoping Dynamo can get in and just apply that 40 damage, compared to, hey, we know what we need to do. Let's do it and just we can have Dynamo strike first and apply damage second. Because you don't have to go in like this strict order for how to set up a push, or like set up anything really. This is fine, good. Yeah, like here I'm just gonna point out, it really does feel like they're almost treating Dynamo as like a separate entity, compared to this is one of the big things enabling our comp. It's fine. Yeah, the enemy team is doing very well in skirmishing. I will give credit where it's due. Like skirmishing and just staying alive and just burning time. Holy shit, this Viper is an issue. Yeah, that Viper just got a quad. Show me warm, Viper man. Thank you. Please get another kill with the stamp throw. No, okay, that's fine. They almost got 6 kills back to back. That would have been sick. Wait, there's still a chance. There. Yeah, I'm just looking at this. I think the big thing as well. Sorry, I was getting hyped watching the Viper because I like how this Viper is playing. Um, because they're doing a lot of the things that you want to see a Viper do. Yeah, that sounds about right. But I want to put it in this position. We know Viper's here. We know Viper's a little scary. But I also want to point out, you can hammer one side together and worry about the Viper later. Because like in this case, we know Viper's so far up and we know our Dynamo is up. So we can work with our Dynamo and clear our elbow first. Because like the boring question that I ask every single team ever is what wins the game? And the answer to that, as always, is objective. Objective is just what wins the game. You don't have to kill a Viper to get in to push objective. You can get objective first and force Viper to come back into you if they want to win, which I think would benefit them here. Because like right here, I'm just looking at this. I'm just thinking, because Bucket had strikes for a second. Strike elbow, go with your Dynamo, and you just rotate forward, and you can clear their team. Because like right now, if I'm this Bucket, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna put a strike here. I'll put a strike like here. I'm very sure that's within strike range, and I'll put like a strike here. I'm not even a big strike player. I'm just throwing 3 random locations. Like, now the enemy team, if they're in front of elbow, they're trapped and they have to fight a Dynamo in one-shot range, or they have to disengage and give up zone for free. Or they have to fall back into zone, which makes it easier to fight. But they're slow on popping it, so Viper in this case kind of can just get back in for some kills. Yep, that Viper just got 6 kills. I respect it. I like this Viper. Yeah, and like in this case, you have specials and you have some tools to keep going. But at this point, I'm gonna be honest, the game's already kind of a foregone conclusion. Like, I don't see them winning this just because of how they've been pushing. Like, I'm happy to eat my words, but I'd be happy to eat them, but I don't think I will. Because, yeah, like, using Booyah on the immediate fight compared to forcing space ahead. That's fine. Good dropping. You made them burn Reef. Now you can just fight the elbow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna let this play out because I feel I've hit most of the stuff on this stage. Because I think I'll just be repeating myself if I keep going. But, like, with this, I honestly think I really do think it's just they have to play around their Dyna a bit better and just work with the space that you can set up for free. Because they really weren't taking advantage of, hey, we have space that we can take for free. Let's just do it. Yeah, and at this point, it's just game KO. There's no way you can get there in time. Let's see. Let's look at the next game, shall we? Yeah, okay. I'm remembering the order that I chose these in because I wasn't given any instructions on which are good games, which are bad games, and which are meh games. I chose this hoping that it would be a meh game. And it's the same team. That is actually ironic as hell. Let's see. Let's flip to overhead, shall we? Oops. I am looking up because I'm trying to drink some water. Probably should hit comp differences considering there's no longer that stamper. I'll be honest, I would kind of just treat Paintbrush is a similar thing to Dynamo, where it's okay, you can go in, you can apply damage. Just Pain can by itself win fights pretty comfortably. Um, so in this case, it's okay. You kind of have Dynamo and Pain that can solo fights by themselves, and you have the two buckets that can just apply damage to more or less make any fight a free win. Um, letting this play out, I don't hate going back for Wiper. I just think they leave mid too exposed. Yeah, yeah. Like if you know a flank like that's happening, as silly as it sounds, and especially with this comp, you actually need someone to cover mid. Because like if you want to go back for this, cool. You have to kind of just trust Dynamo's gonna kill this. I need to change the pen. Actually, how terrible is this on stream? It's good enough. I'm not too worried about that actually. I was kind of worried that it wouldn't show up very well, but no, it's showing up fine enough. Um, like if you want Dynamo to go back, that's fine. Uh, the big thing with Dynamo going back though is Dynamo is no longer watching this area. And the reason watching this area is important is the enemy team can just go through here for free. So like, if you want that, you need something, like in this case, you want your paintbrush to go up to here to keep covering this area. Because if you don't, it's just a free way for them to get in. Because keep in mind, flanks, there's kind of two parts of flanks that you want to keep an eye for. You have part one, which is the actual thing flanking itself. Like if you ignore it, cool, Viper can do this. They can set everything up. They can come back. They can fight anything down here. They can wait a second, get special here, come back and stamp. So you have that. You have that part of what a flank can do. But you also have the second part of a flank of what are its teammates trying to do with this. So in this case, okay, they're trying, like the flank knows, okay, something might commit to me on the right side. What you should be expecting is their teammates are going to want to push forward like this, and take advantage of, okay, if you go for the flank, you have to commit to the flank, which gives us an in, or you have to let the flank through to stop us. And it's not quite that black and white, but that's more or less a simplified version of it in what they're trying to do. In committing two people for a flank, it's really costly because now you have, because now more or less you're leaving your teammates in mid to fight a 3v2. Which one person can hold one side in a 1v1, but one person is kind of inevitably just going to get 1v2'd. If you're leaving your two buckets to fight a 1v2, yeah, that's not pleasant. Like, ironically, if it was the two buckets going for the flank, I would still comment very similar things because sending two people is kind of extreme. But you have your big AoE weapons in mid. So like, let's say Dynamo's here, cool. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to just leave a mark. Like, let's say Dynamo's positioned here, cool. Dynamo can comfortably hit out to here. Let's say Pain goes to here. Pain can pretty comfortably hit out to, like, here. And like, that by itself seals up most of mid. There's a small area like this, but that's still not terrible. I don't think most teams would take advantage of this, and it still puts them relatively at risk. Just committing those two weapons back, in particular, yes, it's a surefire kill on the flank, but you're also taking that away from being able to set up a push for yourself. Like, if you notice, the Sampler literally pushes in and almost just gets two for free. No, they just do get two for free. Like, I want to point out, like, look at how this position develops just from, hey, we really want that flank dead. We're going to put two people on that flank. Like, committing two people on a flank is really risky and just costly. And some teams are like, okay, I want to accept the cost. Just if you're doing it, you have to be careful that the weapons that are going to more or less deal with the cost of that are able to. Because yeah, no, like they almost wiped their entire team just because they wanted a single flank. Yeah, no, they literally just wiped their team. That's fine. If the enemy team is smart, honestly, holy shit. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this. Yeah, no, like I want to point out, it didn't happen in this case because I think the enemy team didn't spot this. But I'm looking at this position here. So in this case, we just had someone jump out and we have two people here. If the enemy team spots it now, they have a free check break. Like, they literally just run rain, have someone rotate over to here, and keep an eye, like, up to here, and you have a free check break. And what's dangerous is after that you have, Reef. So you can use a Reef to repop, or, have your Reef get to here, cool, they're gonna go here, and then they just blow up over here, like this entire area. Um, like that's a really dangerous position to be in if you're trying to win. Um, because that's just hard to defend. Other thing we can check is how close everything else is to special, which that wiper is close as shit to a stamp. Like, it doesn't in this case, and they're only now picking up rain. Like, this is a very dangerous position to be in. Yeah, like, and even then, they still get the free check break. It's just kind of in reverse order of some stuff. Yeah, like, this is so dangerous, but I want to point out, this entire push happened because right back here, they wanted to commit to a flank. Like, flanks are very, very dangerous, but they're also really easy to stop. Just, like, a general rule of thumb, don't commit 2 people for a flank, please. It really just shoots you in, it just shoots yourself in the, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, it just makes your life unnecessarily hard. Yeah, and then here's a free run. I'm looking at, they probably get down to 10. 14, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, this is just such a bad spot to be in. And, like, in this case, I know, yeah, it can be worse. Like, 14 is not, like, a push I'm comfortable with on this stage. But, like, if you don't have a really good push, 14 is also very much so a winning push. Like, ideally, you want to push to get to here-ish, because, like, if you can get your push past here, on this stage, it's really the point of no return. I say that because on rail, you can jump up to here pretty quickly, and it makes it a little easier to not die, which this gets you down to 10. Anything further, you start getting past this threshold, and it's like, at that point, it's almost game over unless you really fuck up. This is fine. The Rainmaker player in me wishes they pick up. What is going on with this push? Huh? Sorry, I'm debating. Because I don't think, like, I actually agree with picking up here. I was gonna say the Rainmaker player in me wishes they picked up earlier. I don't like their Dynamo picking up. Like, I can't say why Dynamo is picking up in particular, because I'm not in their calls, and I'm not gonna go pester them and ask. But, like, I don't like Dynamo picking up, because Dynamo is something that you can have at damage power with both of your buckets. You're kind of just taking that away for, hey, let's just get rain moving. Which, if this is like a minute left and you just have to get it moving, this makes sense. Either one of the buckets could have picked up here, though. And that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, in this case, this push is good. Like, unironically, them pushing rain like this is good. This is what you want to see. Just all I can imagine is if instead of Dread fighting Wiper, Dread grabbed and is running this, and suddenly you have a Paintbrush here and you have a Dynamo here, and like, there's a shit ton of things that can get hit in this single arc from both of the weapons. Like, if this was played a little cleaner and not Dynamo picks up, this is like a free triple, you double back and you just nuke the Wiper. Just in this case, because of how it was played, it just isn't. And Healer backs off and just kind of doesn't get the triple for that. They get a double, they keep their push going. Like, okay, they get a triple, fine, but yeah. Good missiles. Let's see. This is good. They need to push past here, actually. This is going to be ironic, because I know I was talking about what wins the game objective. The big thing that I'm seeing here is they have, like, their entire team is up, and it's just pen. If you can get up to here early, that stops everything respawning from having an easy time to just stop you from running rain. So I unironically think I'm gonna open the graph, and we're just gonna make some guesses here. Okay. So it kind of stagnates. Oh, they wipe. How the hell do they wipe? What? Oh, it's because they literally have repick up. Yeah. No, they ran rain first, which instead of getting past here, that literally just killed their entire push. Like, they ended up breaking check, yes, but they had nothing to continue their push. I'm not even gonna say, like, the push is bad. I just think it can be better. Like, I think they can just do that better, knowing just a little different. That's fine, got a healer. Like, I'm looking at this, and I'm gonna be honest, from what I'm seeing, it feels like they aren't playing around, hey, we have double bucket Dynamo, and it's kind of just, we're gonna play our own game, and if it happens to work out, it works out. it's kind of, like, the big thing that's getting me into that is seeing how Paintbrush is playing. Because yes, Paintbrush is incredibly powerful, but it just feels like they're relying on Paintbrush to do its own thing to keep them in the game, compared to, hey, we're syncing this up because we want to do a team play. Yeah. Also, holy shit, I've been rambling for 50 minutes already. What? I know I like to ramble, but oh my god. Yeah. Like, if you notice on the left side, they're kind of just... It really just feels split, because, like, it feels like healers wanting to throw sensors into mid and see what's going on in mid. And only now that something's failing are they trying to help their bucket to... Like, it's already too late for the bucket. And now you're burning... Like, they're burning so many resources because they're just playing in response to what the enemy team is doing. Like, what I really would recommend, if you ever have the chance... Like, this goes for everyone. This isn't just at this team. Is if you get the chance, try to make some plans for where you want to be in position just in advance. And you don't even have to follow this as like, oh yeah, if this doesn't happen, we just don't get anything going on. But kind of as a, okay, what are we looking to do? Because it's like, okay, we already know, how, like, the big thing with our win condition, the big thing with our comp is we can have these things damage fair. Cool. If we want that on our push, we're gonna sit Dynamo here because Dynamo can hit up to here pretty comfortably. And anything that gets clipped in this, or no, this is close to one-shot range for Dynamo. I think it's closer to this at the edge of its range. Like, anything that gets hit in this general area is just gonna get slaughtered by the buckets. We can have Paintbrush because we're playing with that. Paintbrush can take anywhere in the center area. We can have one of our buckets play, like, up here, who can damage out to here. And any damage works. We know that we have a Reef Slider, so if we ever get Reef Slider, cool, we reef into here, and we just have the fucking nuke go off. And that clears everything in this area. Like, something I strongly advocate for, and this isn't me saying defense isn't important, because defense is important, but defense is infinitely harder than offense. And you need one good offense to win any game, because you can just KO. I think it's worth having at least a very solid plan and idea of what you're wanting to do for offense. Because if you ever get that offense set up how you want it, you kind of just win the game. And if you, and like, if the plan that you have for your offense is weak, cool, you get everything set up perfect, you just learn, hey, this plan doesn't work, let's try something new. And both of those are positive at the end of the day. Like, if you don't have a plan and you're playing reactive to what the enemy team is doing, it makes your life a lot harder. Because you're kind of relying on the enemy team to mess up more than you do. Which, like, if you want to play that way, sure. I just don't think that works. Or I don't think it works consistently enough to win. Let's see. Yeah, and again, I'm just pointing out, if you notice, the buckets and Dynamo, and like, every one of these players, it just feels like they're playing solo queue. Good, that's good teamwork. So I'm letting this play out a bit more compared to pausing every 2 seconds, because I feel I've hit a good chunk of things with this team already. Good. Here, I'm just going to point out, because again, similar thing with offense. They just have to do something to push up to here, and they just aren't. So, like, I'm expecting the push to just stagnate. Because, weird as this sounds, the quicker your offense can be, the easier it'll be. Which, like, oh yeah, that's an obvious thing, but, like, if you stall out a push, it doesn't help you as much as people think it does. Because it's like, okay, if I stall out a push, cool, I can get my teammates to help me, we can get specials, we can get everything going on our terms. But keep in mind, the more time you wait for your teammates to get next to you and try to help you with your push, the more time you're giving the enemy team to respond to what you're trying to set up. Like in this case, they waited a second to push Rain, and now Viper's pushing in, now a Dread setup over here, Stamper's over here. Like, the big thing that happened is, cool, Pen died, but, like, it's kind of all getting undone because they're playing slow. And Rainmaker is kind of the mode you want to play fast, especially for pushes. Ironically, I think a lot of the hate people have for Rainmaker is they play Rainmaker like it's tower control, where you can have a slower push, and it can go at, like, whatever pace you want it to, which it can. It's just harder the slower you go. That Reef is fucking tragic. Yeah. Like, again, I'll point out, like, they just gave the enemy team time to respond to what they wanted to do. And, like, at this point, I'm gonna be honest, this should have just been game. Like, I don't know what... Okay, the enemy team just... Why would you do this, enemy team? Sorry, I'm looking at this and just being the rain player in me. Because like at this point, this literally should have just been wraps. If I'm the enemy team, I just go over here, and you just sit here and you just put rain shots in this general area, especially aimed like up here, and it's game. Like, like you put rain shots here or here, and it's just game. It's really hard to get in there, and you just burn 2 minutes. Um, like I know the enemy team doesn't lose, but still, um, it's kind of a if you get the chance, just end them. Because I'm not going to say that these teams are evenly matched, because I'm going to be honest, or the enemy team, is just doing so much better because like they're playing this like a team game. But it's also even enough to where it's not complete domination, to where it's like you wouldn't want to just stall and burn the clock down if you get the chance. Because time is a resource, and it's arguably the biggest resource that you can trade for if you already have objective. Um, if you don't have objective and you need to worry about that, yeah, don't trade for time fully, because you need to trade to get objective somehow, but still. It's fine. Let's see. Yeah, Dread's flanking. Yeah. Like, I want to find out here, there's good ideas. Like, Dread flanking actually is a really good idea. Just, it feels like the rest of their team isn't playing off this. I kind of like to hear calls. Like, I can ramble about calls. Hell, there's that 30-minute ramble on my channel about calls and what to call and stuff with that. Like, I want to point out, this Reef is really good if their team knows what's going on. Because, like, if Healer commits in like this, they're not going to be quite getting there as Dread's exploding. But they can get there a little bit after and punish whatever's trying to kill Dread and just run Rainmaker. Because, like, as silly as this sounds, Rainmaker at this point is actually, there's just a free path to push here. So as long as you can clear mid and get Rain moving, because I think that the second you get Rain past, like, here probably, it's just game. Like, they really don't have anything to stop you besides for jumping out or trying to hit you from down here in this area. Which I think probably only one of their weapons can do consistently. Yeah. Here it's caught in a Booyah, but was going the other way. Yeah. Like, there's good ideas here. It just feels so out of sync. Dare I say out of tune, but I can't say that because, that's a team. Yeah, like, healer flanking here is good, just the rest of their team isn't set up to take advantage of it. So, like, healers just having to fend for themselves. Good. Dread and Dynamo pairing, this is what sets up their push, actually. Like, if you notice, Dread and Dynamo were in sync, and that's what sets up their push. Like, the second they start pairing and playing it like a team game, the enemy team just gets fucking folded. Because, like, Dynamo plus something that can do 70 damage, or hell, even 60 damage, is fucking terrifying. Because that's a lot of force that will just get thrown at you because, you know, you're existing for this, because, you thought of existing, I don't know. Why would you think of doing such a thing? Also, yet again, Rare picking up, in like, getting rid of having the advantage of Dynamo kind of just kills their push. Yeah. And I'll just let this play out. Because, like, at this point, it's honestly just too late. Like, if I'm the enemy team, you just grab it and stall in the corner. Look, there's no really winning this. Running it back that way is spooky. I understand why they're doing it. I'm not going to say it's terrible to do this. Just, if anything goes wrong with that, it's so easy to just explode. And if you explode with Rain there, you can just lose the game. It's kind of why, like, what's recommended is if you can stall on the sides of the stage. I wouldn't stall here, but I honestly think stalling here would probably be better. If you wanted to run it back this way. Because even if you die back here, they still have to make this jump, which is a lot harder. Compared to, okay, if they kill you here, someone just has to go here and pop, and suddenly they push. Like, it's not the worst thing ever, just it's very risky for what it offers. And for what you're trying to do, there are less risky ways to get a similar effect. Okay. I'm gonna skip. Actually, nah, we'll look at the. Yeah, we'll look at this real quick. I'm not gonna try to pause this. I'm gonna try to not pause this as much, just because, yeah, no. like we already have a big like we have the general gist of things just from what we've been talking about earlier, and I'll just point out some stuff of like when are they doing this, when are they not doing this? Because this is a game that they win, and they win pretty dominantly, to be honest. Um, and I just want to point out why they win, and like in the moments where their pushes are good, why. Also, sorry, I'm just looking at this. This is a really on and off offense. Holy! I'm just looking at the graph on the right side. Like this is, eee. Like I know they win, but that looks like the enemy team messed up more than they won. But we'll see. This is fine. Good. I like that they're pairing up to just actually clear right side. Like they're pairing up together. Just again, Dynamo is so far back it can't actually take advantage of being a Dynamo on a comp like this. Because like if Dynamo was playing up here, hold up, let me change the color. I don't hate yellow, but I don't like using yellow for review. Like let's say Dynamo went up to here. This is such an easy area of okay, we just hit this real quick, and we hit over to here. And any damage, the 70 weapons just very quickly will kill off of. Or like if they played here, for example, or played to get up to here, similar thing. You just have this massive asset box that if anything gets tapped, your team just clears. This is good. Good. They just need to send the push. Someone has to get in front of a rain here. That's fine. I don't mind bucket time. What the heck? Why? Why would you do this? I don't hate getting over here. It's just your team is on the opposite side of the map. Like if you want to do something like this, you gotta be moving now. Setting something up. Yeah, jumping is not the right play there. You were jumping into the lion's den. That's not a. And like here, I'm just gonna point out some stuff with teamwork and just positioning. They're doing nothing to stop the enemy team from just saying "fuck it, we ball." And like it feels like they are because oh well, Dynamo is gonna be coming in here soonish. So they have something like this, or Red can come in like this, and they have something like this. The only thing I can imagine is Wiper at this point just notices, oh hey, oh there's nothing going on over here. They just go up to here and just chuck a stamp up here. Like you chuck a stamp up there, or you get your crab into position here, and you shut this entire thing down. Because they really don't have anything to stop the enemy team from just setting up. Like the big thing that's gonna save them here is the enemy team is just being afraid. Yeah, this crab is so far back that yeah. Like I'll be honest, if the enemy team caught on quicker and just ran rain, they would have been way too late to stop it. And Dread's gonna die because they're playing a dangerous game back there. Yeah. Oh no, Dread stays alive actually. That's kind of dangerous if the. At this point, if I'm Orange's team or just Rare's team, you want to just go forward and ignore the bucket. Because if you can jumpstart a push, because like at this point, if we are like, let's say Dread stays back here, right? Cool, Dread stays back here. As long as you're pushing, Dread's effectively dead. So like, if you can just brute force past them and you just push this, like Dread is dead until it jumps out, or it turns back and gets into range, which will take a while. Like in this case, again, just if the enemy team was more comfortable on Rainmaker and playing it, like I don't think they win this. That's fine. Pen gave up too much space in my opinion, but I understand why. Viper gets a kill, good. Let's see. Yeah, similar thing to kind of what I've been talking about this entire time for Orange. They just aren't setting up a push. Like, if you have rain, you can just set up a push for left or right side, and just get something going. Because, like, on Rainmaker, the slower you try to play your push, the harder your push is going to be, because the enemy team is just going to set up more and more. I know the idea is, okay, we're gonna have specials, so we can use specials to root force past. The thing with that is, the enemy team is going to both set up and get their own specials. So you're kind of just gonna be trading, like, unless you get something more valuable with your specials, like you kill 3 people with it, your specials have to get, like, almost the maximum amount of value that they can for your push to be successful. Compared to if you play a little faster at the start, and just accept, hey, there's some risk, if shit happens, shit happens. and you just push it, you aren't dealing with the enemy team when they're set up. And like because realistically, what happens if you wait for specials is you just treat specials with the enemy team, and everything ends up net even in terms of force. Except now the enemy team is set up to stop your push, and now you aren't set up for your push because you were trying to get in through specials. Let's see. Yeah, like buckets so far back. Like, yeah, no, like, yeah, yeah, no, they're making it way harder for themselves just from how they're playing. Like, I'm sorry, this just looks like solo queue versus a team, or hell, this looks closer to open. You just kind of have a group of people who know how to play the game ish, and they're fighting a team. Yeah, like we lost like that is tragic. Okay, I'm so curious. I'm gonna skip ahead because actually no, we'll just let this play out, and I won't pause it a ton. Because I'm looking at this push, and on paper, this push isn't bad. It gets lead. It gives them the win. But I'm looking at this push, and something just feels wrong with it because it's so on and off. Like they get like 10 points at a time and then die, or I guess it's closer to 20, isn't it? So that's done 60. That's done. Yeah, it's like they get 20 points at a time, which just feels really spotty for Rainmaker. Let's see. Good. Healer opens everything up. If Rain just needs to rotate left, yeah. They stayed in and fight, which or tried to fight, or fought, not tried to fight. Same difference. They tried to fight and it just made it way harder on them. Yeah, and they're just kind of burning resources on the enemy team. Like it really just doesn't feel like they're trying to set up a push. It feels like they're kind of just being given a push. Why did you not pick up their what? What? Left side was like actually kind of safe to push. Nice double from rare, good. Yeah, no, this probably sets up their push, doesn't it? Reef comes out, that's fine. Wiper probably has to die here for push to be successful yet. Yeah, so Rain dies here. I assume the push keeps going because of Brio. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I need to see that from Stanford's point of view. Dude got flung across the stage. What the hell happened here? Excuse me? What happened on like from healer's point of view on this? What? They gained so much distance. I know what happened, but that shit is fun. Like, I'm sorry, this shit just makes me laugh. I love seeing this with the Rainmaker. Rain Barrier is has some of the funniest shit possible. Cause like they get boosted by falling onto Rain with invincibility and the dash. So like this game goes way further than it should. In this case, they get pop, cool. They're probably gonna push it a few points with the Reef. Yep. They get a few points and then die. Yeah, like I'm looking at this. I'm not gonna say that they played it wrong, but I think what I will say is the enemy team played it worse. Because I don't really think they set up anything too insane or too strong for their own push. It just the enemy team wanted it less, I guess. Which is probably rude to say it that way, but like I'm gonna be honest, that's what it looks like. Yeah, like they weren't even guarding Rain for a second run. Which is just kind of insanely risky, I'm gonna be honest. Let's see, sorry, I'm checking something on the side. Okay. Yeah, and like, again, similar thing to what I was saying in reverse, for purple now. They're just taking so long that they're letting, the enemy team set up. Because, like, right here, I know it feels risky because it kind of is, but, like, I look at this scenario here, and I'm just like, okay, what's stopping us from just going and saying, fuck it, we wall, and just running it? In this case, it's literally just Dynamo, which, like, if you go forward, you can just parry a Dynamo shot. Like, if you go forward to see, okay, it's just Dynamo right now, if you catch it early enough, it's just, okay, we're just gonna throw some things at it, push Dynamo offline. Like, you can either kill Dynamo or push it back to here or, like, to here. Either of these spots, and you just run Rainmaker. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, like if you notice, they take a center line, which just plays directly into what Dynamo wants to do. Like if they just booked it left, I'm gonna be honest, I think they win. Because their pushes have just been consistently better. It's just they're so slow to pull it off. That's kind of why they lose this game. That's fine. Jump, yep. Yeah, like there was a chance to pick up Rain, and again, I'm just pointing out because like I can point out the same thing that like Orange needs to be playing a better defense, but like the enemy team also just has to push that. Because there's two sides of me saying, oh yeah, Orange should be setting up defense over here, and like I believe that is just the correct thing to do, especially if you're looking at fighting higher level opponents. Because versus higher level opponents, they should do this. But there's also the flip side of the enemy team has to do this and punish you for being stupid. And in this case, they aren't. Because like the enemy team, why do teams just let Rain reset? Sorry, Rain is by far my favorite mode, and people just love letting Rain reset and just not pushing it. Like, teams make their life. Oh, what the fuck are you doing, Rainmaker? Case in point, teams make their life so much harder on a Rainmaker just because they're too afraid to die with it, and just have a messy looking KD on the end screen. Like, just play for a push. If shit goes wrong, learn from it. Rainmaker is the most chaotic mode, and just play into it. Yeah, Dynamo trades, that makes sense. Okay. Now we can move on to the second team. In this case, this is C-Drive. This is gonna be a little different because they didn't quite give me what I wanted. Because I was asking for what I normally do of, hey, can I have some good games? Can I have some bad games? Oh, this is so fucking funny. I didn't realize. I think I got sent the same games like twice, actually. No, is this the same set? Wait a minute. Okay, that is some insane fucking odds. I was not expecting, because I was gonna ask, because I asked C Drive and, oh, why am I blanking on the other team name? I knew both of them fought in bracket, but I was like, hey, can I get some games from y'all that y'all want to review? And I get sent this, and I'm just dying of laughter, because they're like the exact same. Okay, that's so fucking funny. Kind of said that the other team denied, because there was a team that I asked of like, hey, do you want me to review these? And they were just like, nah, we have a coach, sorry, which I get that, but eh. Something I say with coaching is, I honestly think it's good to get coached by people other than your own coach, because having different input on stuff is just helpful. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be so fucking funny. I'm gonna have to remember to fucking. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm gonna need to be able to change my mindset like as we go with this. To not bounce between both teams. I'm gonna focus on the enemy on C Drive first, and then go from there. Let's see. So I'm realizing I should probably look at comp things. I'll be honest, their comp doesn't have anything special. Like, it's not something that I really be like, oh yeah, this is something I want to comment on too much. Because I don't look at their comp, or I don't look at either of these comps, to be honest, and just see like, okay, this is the win condition they can try to play for, this is what their comp wants to do. It's just kind of comps, which are fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with just having a comp. Multiple teams just have a comp and they can still win. Like, I do not care. Because yeah, like, I think the only thing that I maybe comment on is no, there's not really anything I comment on. Just thinking on it. Let's see. Playing neutral like this is fine. I don't think this is terrible. Yeah, it ends up working for them. I think the biggest complaint I have, to be honest, is the edit. Big thing that I have against the edit is I understand why edit's playing here, but it takes them so offline. Like, I think having edit play here or somewhere in mid, if you're fine taking some risk with it, like somewhere in this general vicinity, is helpful, because if the enemy team wants to commit in, like let's say this red for some reason really wants to commit in, cool. If you're edit, you're here, you just swing the corner and fucking beam the dread that would be pushing into here. Committing to Dapples is that's kind of whatever. I don't like committing to it there because I honestly think you can grab tower and force Dapples into you. but I don't think it's terrible. Um, Anyways, I will let this play out a bit because I just want to watch and see what they do. That and drink some water to save my throat. Okay. Holy scrapfest, that happened in mid. What did I miss? I fucking blinked. Let's see. So I don't think this is terrible. Um, like I like what's being said. What can happen with this push? I will point out the thing that I point out for, uh, like almost everyone on tower, because I can already look at this position and say this push isn't gonna hold. And it's less so. Oh, the enemy team is close to tower already. I can just tell by looking at your own teammates, this isn't gonna hold. Because ideally, what you want is on a push. If we have tower here, I'm probably gonna review it. I'm gonna review it separate on two separate times. Um, More so than just looking at a one and then restarting. Mainly because it just makes my brain happy. But yeah, like if tower is here, because this is where tower is gonna end up, you need your teammates to be up to here by now. Like the rule of thumb that I give on tower control is you always want to be one checkpoint ahead of where tower is. So like, let's say tower is at first checkpoint. Cool. You need your team to be like up to here by now. And then let's swap pen colors real quick. If tower is here, now you need your team one checkpoint distance away, which is like up to here. For your push to be successful. And then if you're working on last checkpoint, you ideally want your team like up to here if you want just a free push. Am I saying you have to have this for a push to be successful? No. But I will say that it drastically increases how effective your push is and how likely it is to succeed. So like, just looking at this, you can already tell the push isn't going to work. And you can see why, because the entirety of purple in this case is just set up to shoot at C-Drive. And like you don't have much of an answer besides we have to just burn specials, which just makes it messy. And Dapples decides that they want to scrap. Cool, Dapples gets traded out. 96 decides it wants to scrap, it gets traded out. Like it's just a scrap fest in mid because of how the push was set up in advance. The funny thing with pushes is, in general, your push is determined by actions you did 10 seconds ago, which sucks. But like, how you set up your push 10 seconds ago really does dictate a lot of what happens with the push going forward. Good, I like this time. Yes, thank you, Flingzo. I like the Flingzo fighting like this. Yeah, and like in this case, it feels like it's worse because they ended up trading, and like in this scenario, it just looks and feels worse. But this is a lot better for C-Drive because they can actually set up their own push. And like being able to set up your own push like this is just important. Because now if tower starts pushing, as long as Decav keeps the same distance and doesn't die, they have the tools for a much more successful push now. In this case, we can see they aren't pushing so much super far forward or in front of tower. And I want to open the graph because I want to see it. My bet is their push ends in 15 seconds. Let's see. So it ends at. Okay, cool. Okay, I guess it was 20. That's fine. That's close enough to 15, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I still feel accurate enough in saying, like, this choice here kills their push long term. Like, yes, they get in, yes, they get some damage set up, but, like, if you notice, C-Drive is so they're just surrounding tower. So what they have to do is they have to fight whatever is pushing into them on tower, which is infinitely harder than saying, okay, we know in this push you can be somewhere in this general vicinity, somewhere in this general vicinity, or somewhere in this general area. And we're just going to clear these three areas. Because if you do this, it makes your push a lot easier. And you don't even have to think about it. If you're waiting for them to come into you, in contrast, instead of watching three areas, you have to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if they want to go on a sentry long flank, you have to worry about like the entirety behind you. So like you have to worry about almost 6 different locations that they can actually push you from. Hell, make that 7, because if they want to commit all the way into hit and they have the range, like that's 7. Like, it's really fucking messy if you are gonna let the enemy team push into you. Because like I'm gonna leave this because I just want to show some contrast. I do not want to hit that. I want to change the pen color. Um, if we do that in contrast of, okay, we know there's 3 areas you can and are probably gonna want to push from, like 1, 2, and generally 3 is roughly this area. Like this is roughly where you can push in from, or where you're gonna stage a defense from. I don't know about y'all. I think I'd rather just fight these 3 areas compared to having to worry about 7 or 8 different locations I can get attacked from. And I'm saying that as like a 10 player who enjoys a vac. Like even with a vac and bubble and shit, this is incredibly hard to just sustain for a push. Like if you notice, in this case, they're getting attacked from like 2 or 3 different angles, and they just do not have, like Siege Drive just does not have that kind of force. Which makes sense. It takes so much fucking force to be able to deal with that. It's part of why proactive play is so important, because the more reactive you play, the more force you have to commit to solve that engagement. Hold up, did they get a... What killed the fucking Viper, excuse me? What? I'm missing something. They jumped, and then just... Huh? Oh, was there a bomb? Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, what? Okay. I thought for a second they died mid-jump, and it just didn't connect on their screen for some reason. Okay. Yeah. Just watching C Drive here. Like, I think how they're set up right now is good. I'll be honest, I think the big thing is, like, if you can, for pushes, or not pushes, for defense, the further up you can hold, the better, typically. Because, like, they can hold up to here semi-comfortably without too much risk. And they don't. Like, we can open the graph. Like, I want to point out, they're positioned in a way where right now, if purple wants to push, because they need to push to here, they're positioned in a way to make sure, yes, they can't get up to, like, purple can't get up to and past here, which is good. That is literally what you want for your pushes. So they aren't in a position where they're really going to lose space, and they don't have to worry about objective too much, but they're also not doing anything to actively make it their position better for themselves, if that makes any sense. Yeah, like in this case, you can see Dapple pushes in, that's fine. Like, nothing is really happening positively or negatively. It just is. Like in this case, Dapple is just sharking, that's fine. But if you notice, they still are actively holding in front of tower, which is what you want to do on defense. Like, C-Drive is doing well on defense. I like this Viper going in. I know Viper is gonna probably die for this, but Viper opens everything up for their team here. Good. This bubble hurts my soul. I get why, but like if you can just push it up to here and you have a bubble up to here. Because like one of the big areas again for pushing is in this vicinity. And if you put a bubble up here, you just literally clear this entire thing by yourself. And now all your team has to worry about is bats. Like this general area, which is incredibly easy to deal with for your team. Like in this case, I can literally just think, okay, what's the easy thing? In this case, honestly, in this pause room, this is kind of helpful because 96 should die, and you wouldn't expect Fling to die. So in this case, Fling just pushes up to here and just takes bats and just waits here. And there's not a ton of counterplay that the enemy team has versus it. So like if you drop directly, you're dropping onto a Flingza. Flingza steps forward and kills you. Okay, no, get the fuck out of here with that. No, we aren't. I do not care about getting more viewers. Be gone. Where the fuck are... Be gone. I do not care about viewers. I'm streaming this because it sounds fun. Like in this case, if Purple wants to commit forward on this, you really can't, because Fling steps forward and one-shots you here. If you try to go this way, you can. It's just not going to be pleasant, because Fling's standing here is just going to throw verticals your way and make it hard to stand here. And if something's already over here, it's in Fling's a one-shot range at this point. And like in 2 actions, by just putting your bubble up here, you've cleared this entire area. As long as your teammate goes forward and knows, hey, this is what the plan is. Like, and I'm looking at the looking at the graph, we can literally see and like we can predict, hey, this is what we'd expect to see happen. Because they get to 50 in this case. So and 50 is getting halfway through this checkpoint, if I'm not mistaken. So let's look at this checkpoint, and we're gonna throw out some lines, and we're gonna keep them up, and we're just gonna talk about it. Because I think for C Drive, the biggest thing that'll help them is understanding the fundamentals of what do you need for pushing on each mode. At least for tower control. If it's just a tower control thing, great. If it's for all the modes, oh well. But like in this case, we know that their push gets stopped here, and we know the rule of thumb of okay, you need to be holding about a checkpoint away. So in this case, we have to do something about these areas. And if we were to separate them out by color a little bit, you have the big area of bats over here that needs to be held. You have this area of making sure, like, roughly up to here is clear. Oops, I don't know why I saw what I shaded in for bats, and I just, in my brain, just fucking shut off. Oops. Like, you have this general area, which you need to cover. And then you have this area over here, which you need to cover. And obviously there's some stuff behind tower. Like, if you really want to be fancy and exact with things, you also need to make sure, hey, nothing back here is gonna happen. Just for the sake of having it marked, I'll mark it in black. I don't think you really need to worry about this as much, because as long as tower is aware of it, you're typically pretty fine. But okay. These are the general areas you need to hold. Let me swap to... Where is... I like this color. Let's use this color. Like, I'm just gonna predict something going into this and just talk about it, because, something I find is helpful in reviewing is, if you can predict what happens, it really does explain, hey, this is what happened. So, in pushing, typically, like, when pushes fail, one of two things happen. It's either this side gets weakened, or typically coming into bats gets weakened. Just considering some stuff of how we've seen everything get played out so far, my prediction is right side's gonna get this side is gonna get broken in through. If I were to take a random guess, I'm just guessing this because I find it fun to take a guess at exactly what happened. If I were to take a guess, my best guess is probably 96 and Dapples together push through here. And considering how the enemy team has been playing, my best guess is Wipers probably up in bats. Ideally I want it to be Flingza. I could also see Flingza taking it considering the positioning and timing of things right now. But I have a hunch it'll probably be Wiper. And if I'm wrong and it's this side, my hunch is it's probably Wiper trying to hold this alone. And something brute forces in through here. My guess is probably 90, like, probably Dread and Edit push this side. But yeah, again, I'm just gonna leave this up and just talk about what I see. Because, hi, welcome to what I do for a review. Y'all are stuck with me. So I'm wanting to see colors so I can... What color have I not used? What does this look like on stream? Oh, I like this color, actually. This is a enjoyable color to my brain. So we're gonna use it. Oops, that is not my controller. That is my mouse. So, like, yeah, in this case, we can already see nothing's holding bats yet. So, like, we know that push gets stopped around here. It probably gets stopped from bats seeing everything. Good, Decaf takes it. If you notice, Decaf is only focusing on one side of bats right now. Yeah, like, if you notice, this second area doesn't get cleared. And that's actually what hurts everything. Because Decaf's holding this, Wiper's holding this alone. I feel correct in saying that. And it feels like Swig is trying to worry about a possible flank. But if you notice, this area isn't being cleared. And that's probably what stops it. Or Kraken does, but like, notice, everything happens through bats now. Like Kraken kind of was okay, we're gonna force you to move out of this area where Viper is now, and the rest of their team just took bats, which is an incredibly strong push for them and easy defense. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like if you notice, literally exactly like not exactly what I said. I was wrong on the exact specifics, but like this was the area that got broken into. And it's what killed their push. Anyways, I will clean all of this up and make it easier to follow along with this, but still, I feel pretty content and accurate in saying what I did. In this case, I'd also point out, if you're the enemy team, if you are already within one checkpoint of tower, you can just fight it. Because, like, in this case, I think Flings like can just go here and fight. I should probably... Okay, hold up, I'm curious, because if anyone's still in chat, how terrible does this color look on the screen? Is this easy enough to distinguish, or should I change it? If I need to change it, I don't mind. Just... I'm not sure. Because on purple, it's a little easy to lose track of it. Here, let me close this section and make sure that I do indeed have someone in my stream. If I don't, I'm gonna look a little foolish. Okay, cool, thank you. Sorry, paranoia, because for some stuff with review and changing colors, it can be really hard to see against the enemy color. Or against one of the ink colors. Like in this case, for Flinza, and even Decaf actually, because Decaf can break into one checkpoint ahead pretty quickly of just going in like this. If you're within one checkpoint, you can strike at tower, and if you can strike at tower, if you stop the enemy team from pushing, you can't, like, they just can't push, which makes it easy for your team. Because, like, in this case, let's just say Flings is the only one who pushes tower. Cool. Decaf can now push in like this, Edit can now push in like this, if they want to, or Edit can wrap around like this, and set up a charge, and then peek and cover like this entire area. Like any number of options really, you can do with this. And the big thing that's valuable with this is if you can stop tower from moving and grab it yourself, the enemy team has to respond to tower. Because again, obvious thing that I was asking earlier of what wins the game, the objective. So like in this case, if you get objective moving this way and it's just moving along its path, cool, it's moving along the path. If the enemy team doesn't come back for you, you KO, you win. Like the enemy team literally has to come back at you, or they just risk losing. Which is great because now your team can move, knowing that the rest of the enemy team should be focused on tower. Like, I'll be honest, I think if C-Drive committed to that, purple kind of just gets fucked over here. Why did I hear my cat meow? What is the tiny critter doing? Good, I like that Decaf taking that fight. I like 96 taking that fight. Like, again, I'm just gonna point out, like, because I'm gonna look at the graph and point some stuff out with it, because I'm not gonna pause too much. Hi, Noir. How are you doing, Noir? Like, I want to point out with the graph and what we've been seeing from C-Drive. C-Drive has been doing pretty well in setting up defense to be one checkpoint ahead of where tower wants to go. Because we know for tower, okay, they have to be pushing up through here, and they're gonna have to break through this checkpoint. And they've been pretty good about staying within this general area. That's fine. Nora, you're always judging me anyways, even without being in my stream, so I do not care. You can judge me all you want. That's fair. Is Tourney playing? I thought Tourney wasn't going to be playing this H-Down. I thought she was doing only staffing things. Okay. Apparently I'm just going insane. That makes sense though. I've been going insane for a good while, I feel. Anyways, don't mind me. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd say, well, obviously I wish her luck. I'd say to pass it along, but she doesn't need it. She'll be fine. But yeah, at least for C-Drive, like C-Drive has been doing pretty well in playing defense. The big thing that I think is hurting C-Drive is it feels like they aren't doing anything different for offense. Like it feels like when they're playing offense, they're trying to play their offense like they've been playing their defenses, which just doesn't really work. You can still play defensive on your pushes. Don't get me wrong, but the way that you do that is you're preemptively taking where you know they need to take. Like here, let's use spotting for example. Like let's say we're pushing into here. Like let's say if we're C drive, towers over here, we're getting a push, and let's say edit's here, right? Edit can go here, get a full charge, and then just beam this entire area safely, which I would consider this more defensive play, because you're trying to keep yourself alive more so than you're trying to just brute force a push, which is totally fine. That is a totally viable way to set up a push. Just you have to do something different for offense of you're setting things up in advance compared to you're responding to what's happening in the moment. Yeah, and like I'm gonna point out because I feel like pointing out stuff with tower because tower is one of the easiest modes to talk about the fundamentals and one of the modes where I feel low level really doesn't always understand it. Because I was talking about how the goals always be one checkpoint ahead. This Kraken that's coming on is really fucking good because now C Drive can't just sit here anymore. And we're gonna open up the graph because the graph is our friend for quickly looking at some stuff with this and just looking at the effective actions. So Kraken gets popped here, and I'm very sure Kraken is going to end right around here. We're gonna note the time. So yeah, Kraken should be ending around somewhere around 203. If not a little earlier. And the reason I point this out is I have a hunch as soon as Kraken expires, C Drive takes back the space and gets in front of tower, or like makes it so the enemy team isn't a checkpoint ahead of tower, which just stunts their push. And we're gonna see if that's accurate. So, oh wait, what? No, your Kraken was popped here. Hold up, sorry, let me do some math. Your Kraken should end at... Yeah, your Kraken should end at, like, 209, I think? So, like, your Kraken ends at 209, so within 6 seconds, they get set up to, like, mount a defense. That's fine. Good kill. That's fine. Yep. Here, if you notice, they're starting to push back in. In this case, okay. So they run fully. Notice, it wasn't fully guarded, one checkpoint ahead. What even happened on tower? Was it a bomb? That feels like a bomb kill, I'm gonna be honest. Nor, I've not seen one of your Krakens get a quad, I'm gonna be completely honest. And if I have, I just don't remember it. Oh, it was a fucking Sam throw. Okay, that's what it was. But again, I do want to point out, like, it's weird, but it wasn't guarded a full checkpoint ahead. Just because, like, out to here, you'd ideally want covered as well. I'll be honest with this, there's not a ton that you can fully do. This is kind of just a recognition of, okay, they have stamp, you respond to it. On C drives, and really fucking good play. Like, incredible play, to be honest. Just, if you're trying to defend from that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Wiper just kind of soloed that entire push. Get the quad, Wiper. Wiper, get the quad. Do it. I believe. I don't know if they got the quad. No. I need to know. Do they get the quad? I'm so nosy. I hope they get the quad, because they played that very well, I'm going to be honest. Do they get the quad? Please. Yes! They do, hooray. Okay. Sorry, that's me. That is me liking to see good gameplay. Here's a similar thing. We're going to just pull up the graph, and we can just make guesses. Like, I can go more in depth, but, like, if we notice their push gets stopped pretty early on, or not pretty early on, but, like, we can assume a similar thing happens of they aren't covering both, excuse me, Epic Pun, thank you. Like, they aren't covering both the area up and bats here, and they aren't covering, the enemy plat. Like, this general area. We can assume one of those two areas aren't covered, and that's what sinks their push. Go, Wiper, go. Go get a 5th kill. I believe. Let's see. Yeah, if you notice in this case, they didn't focus on plat. Like, Wiper was the only one trying to fight plat, and the enemy team just pushes through plat here, and that's what sinks their push. Let's see. I'm gonna just let this play out, because I feel I've hit most of the stuff for C drive on this mode. I honestly just want to see what happens when their defense fails. I like this Wiper flanking. Oh my god. I got to see two good Wipers today. I like that. Yeah, like, I'm gonna point out, their edits so far back, they aren't doing anything to set up an offense for themselves. Like, and I understand why, but I want to point out something with mindset and like how you're looking at pushes and some stuff. It's the mindset that I always encourage whenever I do coaching is your goal is to play to win compared to playing to not lose. And this edit really does feel like what they're trying to do is play to prevent anything happening with tower and to just not lose a lead. Compared to, okay, we're gonna set up our push, we're gonna make sure we can push objective, we're gonna make sure we can do any number of things and use that to prevent the enemy team from pushing, compared to just, okay, we're just gonna play defense and just make sure the enemy team doesn't push far enough. And like I understand that it is incredibly tempting, especially at with like 1 minute left, to be like, okay, I'll just play and make sure that they can't push, but like when you have a lead like this isn't really a strong lead. It's a defendable lead. I want to clarify. It's very much so a lead you can defend, but it's not a strong lead to where you can play defense for the rest of the game. If they broke this checkpoint and got to like here, which I'm fairly sure is down to like 30-ish. I want to say this is somewhere in the 30s. If they were somewhere down in the 30s and wanting to play it, like just to stall and play defense, that makes sense. You have a strong enough lead to do that. Down to 50 is not a strong enough lead for that. And if we notice, here comes the Kraken. I honestly think this Kraken probably sets up the entire... Yep. Sorry, I'm just looking at this Kraken, seeing what it's impacting, and it's like, yeah, no, this should just be a win at this point. Because now the enemy team is kind of out of position to actually be one checkpoint ahead of tower the entire time. This Dev is bloodthirsty. I respect the shit out of it. I think they bloodthirsted too much if their goal was playing defense. Flings is going to commit early, aren't they? That's fine. Flings commits. If Flings stays on tower here, I honestly think they win. Because the thing is, if Flings stays here, you one-shot anything up here, and you keep one-shotting tower if they try to push. So, like, the only way for the enemy team to clear you is to take an angle in mid and try to shoot you. Which, if they take an angle in mid, you have a fancy-dancy edit that can stand here, get a full charge, and just beam whatever's trying to kill you in mid. In backing off like this, you're making it so the enemy team doesn't have to clear you and burn time on that. Like, Flings have backed up so much that they literally just die to edit for free, and that kind of sells their push, or sells their defense. And at this point, we're kind of just going to see the gradual decline of their defense, because they've kind of just had everything disrupted like, they're just slightly out of sync, but it's really going to be noticeable now. Because, like, Flings is a mile away from tower, and they aren't close enough to play defense. So they're kind of giving up space for free, and now Purple can push in for free. Like, if Flingza was there, where they died earlier and just sharking, I'm gonna be honest, I think they win. Like, the big issue that they had was, like, they kept backing up and just, they gave the enemy team one checkpoint worth of distance for tower for free, instead of making them work for it and burn resources for it. And, like, if you see, this is where that matters, because they just lose lead. And, like, at this point, it's a little too late, especially with Kraken on board. Yeah. Yeah, and you just kind of just pop Kraken on tower. Yeah, like, if Kraken was popped any earlier on tower, like, that was just a confirmed GG's, and you don't get a fucking say. Okay. I'm gonna skip looking over zones. It's not even that I don't find zones. Actually, yeah, no. I'll glance through zones. I'm gonna try to not break down zones too much, because I already broke down zones looking at one of the earlier reviews. Yes, Noir? You know what? Fuck it, sure. If you do anything stupid with it, I will remove it. Yeah, you've been modded. Have fun. Keep in mind, I can remove that. That is not hard to remove. You're tempting me to remove it. Don't think that I won't. Anyways. Let's go to overhead. Yeah. I'm mainly gonna focus on and break. Hold up, let me see how long this game goes. Okay. Yeah, I wanna. Okay, I'll just look through this. It's not such a long game to where I can worry about it. That's fine. Yeah, I won't stop you, Noir. That's fine-ish. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna back up real quick. What happened going in the mid? Decaf linking is a little sus, but that's fine. Carbon just kind of doubled up on a line. Whatever. That's not the worst thing ever. I'll just quickly point out why Carbon died, because I don't see a lot of people talk about it. Something with Force, and I was kind of talking about this on Rainmaker, is when you make it clear where you want to go, the enemy team is going to respond. So, like, in this case, there was already an, I believe it was, oh, it was Decav. It was Decav or Edit, who was already playing here when Carbon was trying to push. Here, let me back up real quick. Let me have a more accurate map to work with. So, when they're committing, Edit's already here, and Edit's already shooting and making it very clear they want to push through this. And on paper, it feels like, okay, I should go with my Edit. My Edit can cover me. My Edit can work me into this fight. My Edit can do all of these things with it, and my Decav's off to the side so they can help me in this fight. The big thing, though, is the enemy team knows there's an Edit here, and the enemy team wants to be putting force onto the Edit to stop them coming forward. So in and of itself, that's fine. Edit can more than live this. The big thing is, if you're trying to follow up after a teammate who's already making it clear what they want to do, in this case, it's Edit wanting to walk into mid and shut down mid. If you try to follow up with them, you're going to get hit with that force from someone else, and meant for someone else. So it can make it really risky, and it can just accidentally kill you. Like if I'm Carbon, I understand why they're going for it, but I'd honestly recommend taking a line like this. Mainly because now, if you are Dread, you have to commit to, okay, I either want to deal and put my force here to kill Carbon and die to Edit, or I want to put my force on the Edit and die to Carbon. So you kind of put them into a catch-22, where you don't have a good option. Like, there just isn't a good option, so it's just good luck, figure it out. But like in this case, going with it, if you notice, like what I was saying is literally just what happens. You get caught with the force meant for your Edit, which like I feel bad, but that just happens sometimes. And, like if you weren't caught by that, it would have just been a little easier to set up a push now. This is good. I like how this decaf is playing. Good bubble. Holy shit. Honestly, I kind of wish they committed forward and just got the kill on Dread, but that's fine. I don't mind too much. I don't think it's terrible. The one thing that I will point out is similar thing to what I pointed out for the last Zones game that I was looking over. Because on Zones, there's really 3 areas you need to worry about. Obviously, you have the zone. That's kind of the question. That's kind of what wins the game. How well does yellow show up on this ink? Okay, it shows up fine. This yellow really shows up fine on anything. You have the hot zones. In this case, they kind of reach out to here. Hot zones are where can the enemy team impact zone. Like in this case, if anything is in the hot zone, they can start painting zone. And then you have the perimeter. And the perimeter is where can they use specials to get in onto zone. And on this stage, it reaches roughly out to here, I think. It's not perfect, but it reaches roughly out to here. And obviously it goes on the side. I'm just being lazy and not modeling the sides perfectly. The reason I bring this up is I wish the rest of C Drive was pushing the enemy team out of the perimeter. And like they were in the perimeter themselves, excuse me. Because like let's say we have an Edit who's getting set up here. We have Decav just commit to this fight over here and knock you offline. We get Carbon like up here and sharking. This is a lot easier to defend, and this just sets up a really secure push. And we're gonna leave up these same markings because we're gonna make a fun prediction. My prediction is the second that Decav dies up here, the enemy team is going to start pushing into start pushing back into their own court. probably use a special or two, take their court back, get into the hot zones, and then just win. Because like if you're trying to set this up, you have to set this up in advance. And again, we're gonna leave the markings up and see what happens. Yep. So nothing is in the perimeter, really, or nothing is forcing the enemy team out of the perimeter. Swiper gets their kill, but like if you notice, the enemy team is now starting to enter the perimeter. And let's see, am I correct in using a special to get back into court? Yep, there's that special. There is that special. And like the second that special comes online, that force clears the entirety of court. And now the enemy team is actively getting into the hot zones. And like if you're a C drive, you're just in a really weird position here. Because if you try to go forward and take a fight, you have two specials that are aimed at your head. I still would honestly encourage taking the fight anyways. Main reason for that is I think backing up almost guarantees that you're going to lose space. Because like, here, we're going back to the color that I had earlier. I want to say it's magenta, but I don't know if that's correct. I don't think so. I know the name of this color, but I don't remember it. Like, if I'm the enemy team, I'm realistically gonna reef. I probably have 96 go over here and set up a wall. So like 96 can cover out to here. Reef covers like out to here as a one shot. Or that's too far. I'm thinking of it 70. Like reef covers out to here with a one shot, and like out to here with a 70 radius. That's not accurate either. It's closer to here, but whatever. I'm not too worried. My lens have not been the prettiest thing today. Like you get forced so far back that you're in your own court because you're backing up. Let's say I'm Decav and I commit forward. Even just killing one of these players makes it so they don't have this kind of force or space anymore. And I'm not gonna say it's the biggest thing ever, but it just makes life easier on your retake. Yep, there's that reef. 96 covers right side. Jump just gets exploded. Yep, 96 is now on right side. I was correct if a little out of order. And I want to point out the big thing of in reverse, because the enemy team wants to do the same thing in reverse, because these general areas don't change. So you have zone, you have hot zone, like hot zones, which are roughly out to here, and then you have the perimeter, which reaches roughly out to here. Obviously, this can take more of the sides than should. I'm just being lazy. But with this, the big thing is, the enemy team wants to do the same thing in reverse. So your goal is how can you hold the perimeter to be close to, if not in the hot zone. And my prediction for what happens, just considering we have this graph over here, my prediction is something goes wrong, purple pushes up and into the perimeter, and you'll probably scatter your force, just from what we've seen. I want to see before I just assume. This Suka's good. Like, if you notice, y'all are staying in the perimeter with your special, compared to, okay, we have a special, let me commit forward here, let me commit forward here, and just working with that. And now Kraken comes online, and, like, you're fucked because you're stuck in the perimeter now. Like, you're stuck in the perimeter, or you're just gonna get chased down by an invincible Kraken. Which, welcome to why I hate Kraken, and I think it should be removed from the game. Because, Kraken is important because you can't kill it, and it can just force you out of key locations. But, that's just the ramblings of a madman, because I do not at all like Kraken. I don't care, Noir. I'll own it. CRB should not be a kit that is in this game. You can have your splat bomb. We can just give you a different special. Like, what special would you rather have? I'm sure there are other specials you'd rather have than Kraken. And if you want something of a similar effect, we'll just give you Stamp. I do not care. I can admit that Kraken is very enjoyable. Like, on an individual level, Kraken is very enjoyable. You can have that, Noir. I'd happily give you that to get Kraken out of the game. Like, Kraken can be fun as an individual. I think it is horrible on, like, the macro scale. And especially trying to fight the thing? God, no, get it out of here. We do not need that special in the game. That's fine. Kraken is stuck in the game until we move on to S4. I don't want them to bring it back. Like, we're stuck with it. Just we just don't need it. The special is not healthy for the game. If they bring it back, I'm gonna retire in S4. I'll retire the same update they bring it back. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna let this play out. I You're not gonna drag me back, I promise you. But yeah, like if you notice what ends up happening here, you're using specials, but you're only using specials in the perimeter and you're not getting into the hot zone. Some of that is like as a team, it feels like y'all aren't synergizing or like in sync of, hey, we want to force out right side, or we want to force out left side, or we want to do this. It feels like y'all are just playing and whatever happens, happens. Good, that's one death. It's fine. This is good. Like, I want to point out this is good, but it's a little late, and you're just gonna get reef-sided and forced back into the same position. Like, reef comes out, kills 3 of y'all, and if you notice, we can literally just look at the same graph. It's a similar thing. You pop cooler, they probably just get 2 kills, if I were to take a guess. Probably from their dapples, considering how they've been playing. Probably from dapple 96. You respawn with cooler, and then you try to use Zuka, and it's just a little too late, because now they have double reef. Because, yeah, there's one of the kills. Okay, try to get to the double. I respect it. But yeah, like, at this point, it's almost too late, because, at this point, I didn't even process they pop double reef. At this point, it's a little too late, because double reef is fucking broken. That shit is strong. Double reef might have not been intended, but that shit is fucking strong. Like, unironically, with double reef, as long as you have like one explode here and one explode here, you fucking blow up the entirety of court. Like, there is no living this shit. Like, a reef is way too fucking strong. I also want them to tone that down because that 70 hitbox is a little bit too strong. Like on C Drive's end, it really just is. I think if y'all are a little bit more synergized on this, it'd be helpful. Because really, that's what happened. Is it feels like y'all weren't respecting the perimeter, and working with that. Based actually, that's what you should do with double reef. Like it, because like realize at this point in the game, it's already too late. Like at this point, you already won. So like, I unironically think if you're in tournament, I think the best play you can do is just double reef one person to just get them to tilt. Like, and I'm not kidding. Yeah. Okay, no, that's great. No, I love that. I fucking love that. No, that's great. I'm sorry, I'm dying inside. That shit is a peak. That is. Both of you had the exact same thought, and I love it. I'm sorry, this just made me. Oh, I feel bad for this Carbon, but like, sometimes that's just what happens. Also, the fact that the edit almost died to that is fucking crazy. But yeah, no, at that point it is too late for Z Drive. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I'm honestly gonna skip over to y'all's replays on this a little bit. I want to start on this one, because I want to talk about some stuff with C Drive, and like what they did wrong, but I also want to talk about what y'all did right, because yeah. Also, let's go, we have the double reef again. Unironically, I quite enjoy double reef. I think that shit is broken as fuck, but I enjoy it, and I think it's very fun. Okay, let's see. Also, give me 1 second. I need to raise my chair. Why is this shit on the fucking floor? I need to get in the chair at some point. Because just sitting in this, it keeps lowering itself. Which makes sense, because what this chair is, I almost want to say 3 or 4 years old. And it's not a high quality chair. Anyways, let's see. And let me not focus on Z-Drive this time. Let me focus on y'all. This is fun. something I will bring up with openings, because I feel it's valuable to bring up, especially with wall weapons. One second, let me drink some water. My throat is starting to kill me. Also, holy shit, it has already been 2 hours. What the fuck? Okay, hold up. So I'm just thinking, because C Drive might eventually get around to watching this. What I'd unironically recommend to C Drive, if you get the chance, read the doc that I put out on the fundamentals. Because it feels like a lot of the mistakes that C Drive was making was based on the fundamental level of like, okay, we need to play around objective, we need to play around the map this way, we need to play around and do whatever using the fundamentals. Because I think that's kind of the big thing that would help them. And I don't mean the fundamentals as in like oh, you don't understand the fundamentals. Just this game is fucking complex as hell, and there's a lot of things to the fundamentals. Um, Hell, I still am fairly convinced a lot of mid-level, if I were to start breaking down the map in terms of like fundamental aspects, I'm fairly sure most of them would struggle a decent bit with it. Uh, let's see. Sorry, I'm just thinking. Okay. Uh, hmm. Here, give me 1 second, actually. I just want to get up and stand and take a small break from reviewing things. Um, I'd ask if anyone had any questions from what we've gone over so far, but two of the people who have joined are new. And I feel Microwave has seen enough of my reviews to know generally what I'm talking about. But yeah, sorry, I'm being boring and stretching and doing things that help me think, because, that tends to be helpful. Especially after apparently sitting for 2 fucking hours, which, that's crazy. It has not felt like it's been 2 hours. Hold up, I'm gonna see if I can actually stand real quick. That might be a... Let's see if my setup decides to explode from me daring of thinking to do this. Or thinking that I can do this. Nope, my setup didn't explode on itself. Hooray. Where the fuck do I put this chair now? I guess I'll just put it over here. Okay, we can get back into this. Where is the pen? There it is. Okay. So yeah, something that I want to point out on opening, especially because what y'all have. Oops, that is a terrible fucking. Why was that line like that? What the fuck is up with my hand today? Whatever. I'm not gonna question this. I'm on a different setup. I'm not worrying about the lines. It's gonna piss me off, but whatever. But with these two weapons, something that y'all can do is you can be like, okay, we're gonna just sit here. Like in this case, we can throw a wall here. We can. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not using. Let me not use my mouse for my normal setup. I'm just gonna use my use the fucking default stuff for that. Like if we have 96 over here, we can shut this down. If we have edit over here, cool. We can shut down like up to here. The big thing that I would be cautious of for y'all is the space in between. Which doesn't feel like much, but how y'all are setting up, it does invite the enemy team to be able to push like this. And if you're like, okay, we want to put a Dapple in the middle, that's fine. If you want to put Dread in the middle, that's fine. But having something in the middle to stop Force from being able to just directly run past y'all is important. Like, in this case, I don't think they do, but, like, Carbon could very well just say, oh, hey, here's a free path, and just take it. And if Carbon takes it, it just is a mess for y'all to have to chase down. Okay, let me move my mouse and shift where my controller is. There we go. Because, like, here, if y'all notice, y'all have a really good hold on this side, so you're shutting off, like, up to here. 96 is going over here, which shuts off here by itself. Like, if you notice, the entirety of mid is open. Which, sure, maybe teams in this level won't take advantage of it, but, like, there will be teams who have enough paint to very quickly just be like, okay, we're just gonna paint this entire thing real quick, and you're just gonna have a Carbon pushing. And I say that because I've seen Carbons do that. And I've seen teams do that. So it's something to be very cautious of, is like, where Like, if you're setting up defense, where are you encouraging the enemy team to go with their force? Or where can they go with it? And if they have to fight a player, that typically is a good sign. I say typically because it's not always, but it tends to be. That's fine. And like I'll point out another thing, because you have 3 players over here. So you have 3 times the force over here. And like I'm just explaining why Panther ended up dying over here. Because like you have 3 times the force on this side, and you only have 1 player's worth of force on this side. Epic Pen, excuse me, I curved that line, the fuck? Whatever. Epic Pen likes to be weird sometimes. Like in this case, even with a wall, like we can leave the second line. If y'all notice, this is a lot easier to force through, because this is really only 1 player's worth of force, compared to you have to go through 1, 2, 3 players worth of force to even get over here. So like, the more that you stack up one side, the more you're going to force the enemy team to take another. And arguably you can say it's not that deep, it's not that important, it's just opening, which I wouldn't disagree with you. However, yeah, no, you're getting the warning anyways. I do not care. Because like this is good. Just if you notice, you're now having to play a game where the enemy team has control of the right side of the stage, and you'll have control of the left side of the stage. Um, which is totally fine. It is what it is. Just it can make it very weird to play around. Because all I'm saying, imagine this Flingza wasn't a Flingza and they were a carbon, and they were like, fuck it, we're just gonna fight, and they just are over here. It can make it incredibly messy for what y'all are trying to do. Yeah, it also, like, if Viper decided that they didn't want to fight, Viper could have gone into your base, and it just is really hard to catch it. Yes, 96 can catch it, but, like, that's still kind of a gamble. Like, that's, I'm not going to say it's a 50-50, because you're coming out with Swan Armor and a wall, but, like, that's, I honestly think that's probably, like, a 35-65 matchup. Like, the enemy Viper will probably win that 35% of the time. Because, like, that's not hard for them to win. It's not easy, but it's not hard. And, like, again, if you notice, small thing with offense, but, like, y'all only sending 1 person on this side, and having 3 over here, like, 30 seconds later, fucked y'all over a little bit, because now the enemy team has the entirety of mid. Am I expecting them to take it? No. But versus better teams, you will give up the entirety of mid for that. This is fine. I don't hate how y'all are playing. This is good. Something to point out, just that I'm noticing slightly, your 96 is really good in about going and setting up a wall in a spot that's a weak spot. Because, like, in this case, left alley for y'all, like, this alley is incredibly weak, so 96 sitting here is important. The big thing I would say, though, is for the rest of your team, y'all want to be figuring out, hey, what is our plan to get in, like, for going back into mid? Because it can be like, okay, we're going to have Dread go here, and they can start hitting over to here. We're going to have Dapples go through the center, and they can start fighting into here. And the second that starts happening, we're going to have our 96 rotate up. And suddenly the enemy team is, like, forced back behind this line, and they have to almost keep disengaging. If they want to keep themselves alive, and they don't want to take the fight. But having something on from your team side of, hey, this is what we're looking to do to set up our push, and this is how we're wanting to use our force to push them in a certain way, is important. And I honestly think that's something that a lot of low-level teams will lack. Like, unironically, I think a difference between low and mid-level, because there's a few differences, but I think one of the bigger ones is mid-level will have, like, somewhere between 1 to 5 pushes that act on principles like this, while low-level don't have it happen intentionally. If it happens at all, it's kind of lucky, and it'll win them the game. Anyways, I will let this play out, but because, like, if y'all notice just how they're directing their force, again, you have 3 people over here, 1 person over here, and they're just cutting down the center. I think no, this is one of the games y'all sent that you lost. Okay. Like, if you notice, you're holding the sides of the stage too much that the enemy team can come in through the center. Like, having someone in the center who can help some of this is just valuable. In this case, good. I wish C-Drive was playing like this more. Sorry, I'm gonna point out what C-Drive was doing right, because they didn't send any good games, which is sad because I was asking them to, but kind of convenient that y'all sent this in, which was one of their good games. Like, C Drive doing this is good. I wish C Drive was playing off this a little tighter. Because, like, things I can go here, quickly clear this. This is obviously we have the benefit of overhead and knowing where everything is. Like, this is still a spot that you want to clear anyways, and then, like, you probably have flings that rotate into here and fight. And you have edit push into here, and it's really easy to work with for C Drive. Because now you just have to go up to here, and now you just have to keep an eye on this location and this location. Like, in doing that, suddenly you've changed it from, okay, we have to worry about where the enemy team is and trying to react to them and respond to what they're doing, to, okay, we're going to push in, and now we just have to cover 4 spots. Which, I don't know about y'all, but, like, if I just have to cover 4 spots with 4 players, that's kind of fucking easy. Like, okay, Flings is going to come in here, cover this, rotate to here, cool. One player is covering 2 spots at once. We have one person come up to here. If you throw a bomb up here, you're covering this. If it's decav, they dash, slash, and cover this. So in doing this, with 2 players, they've literally covered the entirety of the push, and now you can have your edit and wiper just play clams. And just hold clams for a push. Like, something that I think would help C Drive is, if y'all can, just play way more proactive and just start a push. Like, in some practice, like, what I'd recommend for the next 2 practice sessions, if y'all get the chance, is focus on just offense. Don't worry about defense, because I genuinely think y'all's defense is pretty solid. Your offense is lacking to where you're making it so if your defense fails once, your offense isn't good enough to let you win and coast on it. It's kind of okay, our offense is weak, but it's good enough to where it's not going to we're going to immediately lose it. But if we fail our defense, like one defense, we will immediately lose it. Which is just really hard to keep up. Compared to, like, if you get a deeper or stronger push, cool, you've gotten if you get a push down to 30, cool, we failed our first push, they got down to 50, we get our defense, not push, cool, we failed our first defense, they get down to, like, 60, whatever, we set up a second defense, and we stop them before they get lead at 30. Anyways, now I will focus on not C Drive, however, I like to focus on the positives and when people do things right, so, but yeah. And I will honestly say, in reverse, for y'all, y'all should be trying to expand out and take this area before they can. Like, I know it's spooky with bubble, but, like, you can still set someone up here, you can still set someone up here, and you can start wailing and breaking this bubble, because if the second bubble breaks, cool, you just kind of collapse it from all sides. And, like, in doing this, that's a terrible fucking line, that's not how you'd want that to be shooting, oops. Like, if you do something like this, cool, this decav is forced to back up to here, or if they're quick enough, they are forced to back up to here. Like, in doing this, if y'all notice, this is very fucking effective, and it's taking advantage of the fact that, like, this bubble is too far back to actually be impactful. It can be impactful and set something up long-term, yes, and there's some stuff that can be set up with it, but they aren't taking full advantage of that bubble, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't, please tell me, because, y'all are in chat, I can actually ramble and make sure that this makes sense to y'all, because, yes, this is kind of important. Besides, it also gives me a second to rest my throat and drink some water, because, no, that's kind of important. I'm probably going to be making some tea as soon as stream is done, because I think we have some honey downstairs. Which, yes, I'm that boring of a dude. I use tea and honey. Enjoyable combo. Anyways. Let me open this back up. But yeah. Considering I haven't said anything, I'll assume it makes enough sense, and I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But still. Let's see. Let's let this play out, shall we? Because, like, in this case, if y'all notice, you're so grouped up that, like, let's say Flings have played this right how I was talking about, of going here, cool, if this person dies, they keep going forward, and now y'all die here in court. And, like, this is just one player, because of how far back y'all are playing. Like, this is kind of the thing that people say of, oh yeah, you don't want to group up too much. I don't agree with that, but I will say, on defense, you want to be careful of how much you group up. Because you can allow for things like this, where it's not, I don't think it happens, Actually, you know what? We're gonna let this play out. Because y'all kind of get fucked here, considering they wipe y'all out. Um, and I'm so curious if something like what I was talking about happens. Okay, I think it's... Yeah, no, look, I'm sorry, I'm pointing out the Flingza, because I was pointing it out earlier. Flingza's pushing the opposite side, but like, the second this Flingza starts fighting, they wipe y'all. And they get a decent push. Yeah, like, the second Flingza starts fighting y'all, wipe. Which, yeah, they only get down to like 38, but like 38 is fucking hard. That's not exactly a pleasant push to have to just eat. Good on killing that Viper. I'll be honest, I think something that I've been noticing and just pointing out, I feel y'all's 96 is really good in or good about making sure, hey, we aren't gonna just get nuked by doing a certain play, and you're really good about making sure the enemy team doesn't have free space. The thing I'd say with it is the rest of your team would benefit from, like, okay, we know that we want to take something center. Cool, we can drop, we can set up a wall, I can cover out to here as 96. Having someone take that side and having someone take this side, like in this case, probably have Dread go here, Dapple's over here. Because if Dread goes here, Dread's range is like out to here. And now you've covered like the entirety of your own, or you've made your defense incredibly easy on yourself. Which, yeah, that's kind of me being picky, but like, I'm just looking at this scenario where if you notice, you're kind of doubling up force on one spot when, like, realistically 96 by itself can cover this pretty comfortably. And what ends up happening is it just gives the enemy team almost a free in. Because, like, I'm gonna point this out just because y'all leave this left side really exposed. It doesn't feel like it right now. Like, if Decav, instead of throwing a bomb, was like, okay, I want to commit to here, Decav would be here now. If they get a charge, they dash slash to here and can kill your Dread, and they have a power climb here. Like, even if y'all kill them here, cool. But like, if y'all kill them here, cool, you did what you needed to. If something goes slightly wrong and they get here, they're down to 18. Like, that's kind of the benefit of having someone take this side. Is you're making sure something like this is a lot harder. In this case, it doesn't happen, but as someone who plays like what I was, or who makes plays like what I was describing, trust me, it can happen, and if it happens, it can really fuck up your day. Because at that point, you almost have to KO. Which, like, yeah, no, it's just really rough to deal with. Especially because, like, already you can see this score was pretty lopsided, like, there's a 20-point disparity. I imagine if that was a 40-point disparity. And that's just a small thing of, like, where are you positioning? Anyways, that's enough about me rambling for positioning things with defense in retake, but I'm a nerd. This is fine. I don't hate, like, I'll be honest, I think what would probably help y'all the most, like, just looking at some of your games, is, like, if you know where you want to push. Because, like, in general, just because of how the maps are designed, it's pretty easy to know, okay, at some point, we either have to go through here, here. That's a terrible fucking line. Why did that not stop where I wanted it to? Like, you have to go through there, or here. Hell, you can even get away with going through here. That's fine. I'm not gonna be too picky about that being perfect. Like, either way, you eventually have to take, like, one of 4 lines. If you know this in advance, you can just call, like, hey, this is where I want to go, this is what I'm doing, this is where I want to go, this is what I need y'all to do. And it would help y'all's pushes a lot. Because of how simplified everything is, like, just simplifying it down so your team knows what you're doing is helpful. Good fighting street, it's good. And, like, again, similar thing of kind of what I was talking about is how y'all spread your force. Because you'll have a lot of force on this side. If the enemy team is any quicker, they just take this. Like, I think for y'all, the big thing is try to not have all of your force in the exact same spot and have it spread out more over the map. And when y'all are ready to set up a push, narrow all of your force down into 1 or 2 key locations so you can just spearhead your way through defenses. Because I'll be honest, most of the pushes that I've seen from y'all have been relying on that Kraken. Good on your end, 96 for pushing up. But like again, you can see here's a force disparity. 96 is covering up to here, but there's nothing really covering through here. And it's just one person in mid versus 4 potential enemy players. Holy shit, this is a terrifying spot to be in. Sorry, I'm just seeing the amount of clams. It's not gonna happen, but the only thing I can imagine with like higher level plays, like if this Viper has cooler, they frame one jump, pop stamp all the way through here. You set up a bubble here, and they just get 2 power claims in for free, which that would fucking hurt. Which again, similar thing, how you're spreading out your force, because now you have 4 people focusing over here, or you have 2 people focusing over here, versus and the other person has to deal with like 3 people's worth of pressure if the enemy team really wants to here. Like, it's not hard for the enemy team to get something to set up like this, and like this is a shit ton of force, and I don't know if this is enough force or I don't know if Edit has enough force to stop this. Like, it doesn't happen, but it very much so can. And they committed a stupid bubble. Okay. And they burned. Why do you do this, C-Drive? I'm sorry. This is hurting me inside. Good playing defense on y'all's end, but again, this feels like the enemy team messed up into how they were playing into you, more so than y'all were playing this correct and forced them into a lose-lose scenario. Because like the goal in this game is obviously force them into a lose-lose scenario where they don't have a good option. And if something chaotic happens, it's still net even. Good Kraken, I like that. Look, again, you can kind of see here. Here, I think y'all should just be playing offense. Because, like, yes, there was a bubble there, but y'all can push up to here for free. They don't really have any force coming through here. Dapples, if you're worried about it, can come in through here. Cool, you see this, you reef into here, you explode. Dapples can keep going up through here. The rest of your team comes through plat. This thing dies because of reef. You come in through here, you have a free, like, you get a free push, and then you just jump pity if you have enough clams for it. If not, you hold and get enough clams for it. Or just hold them till you can. Like, any number of things. But y'all commit so hard for Viper that now they're set up to defend. Like, you're giving the enemy team enough time to where they can play defense. And, like, if you notice, like, Decav does the exact same thing that I was talking about in reverse. And now y'all are stuck defending for however long. I'm not going to pause too much, because I've kind of said all my main points from how I'm seeing y'all play. Like, you're grouping up so much, and all of your force is, like, I feel like if you can flip how you're playing, it'll help y'all a lot. Because, like, on offense, it feels like you're trying to spread your force out too thin. And on defense, you're trying to have your force be so narrow. Which you want to flip that. On defense, you want your force to be more narrow. Or, on defense, you want your force to be more spread out. And only have, like, 1 or 2 people overlapping force. And on offense, you ideally want, like, 1 or 2 areas with a shit ton of force coming through it. And it just makes your life more consistent. The other thing I'd say is, again, if you can, look to set up a push. Because this entire game so far, I've not seen y'all set anything up for a push by yourself. The only thing that I've really seen y'all do to, like, set up a push, like, I'll back up, is it feels like y'all are so dependent on using your reefs or Kraken to get in. And I'm not going to say it's the worst thing ever, but I'm also not going to say it's a good thing. To have to rely on your specials to get a push going. Because specials will just enhance a push, but they shouldn't be your push in and of itself, if that makes any sense. This is fine, good. In this case, the enemy team messed up, so y'all do get a good push here, but still. Good. I understand why you Kraken here. I honestly think you Krakening there probably loses the game. Like, here, let's do some math. Because you had 7 clams, that is 21. If we apply 21, that gets down to 47. So yeah, like, if you just decided, okay, I'm gonna just throw out a wall and just score, you would have gotten more points here, and then you can Kraken after. You Kraken so early that you can't actually help anything that happens down here, in the hopes of setting up here. And while I get it, you can still push up to here and just say, oh, fuck it, we're throwing a wall here, force 96 out, or not 96, forced to edit out, throw your clams, and then Kraken in. But in Krakening first, you're losing clams. And you're making it harder because now your team has to go back and pick up those clams. And like, yes, your Dapple can throw in some of the clams, but they can't pick up all 7 easily. And by the time that, like, your Kraken's done, the push is already over and 3 of your clams broke. That's fair. I can't say anything too much about entry specials. I think, yeah, I think it's probably an overcorrection because I don't think you need entry specials. You just need a way to enter. And specials can be a way that you want to enter. The other way that you can do it is just, okay, we know how we want to push, we know the areas we need to push, and we'll just push and sync. Because that's what, like, H-Dive does, for example. Like, H-Dive focuses way less on, okay, we'll use specials and we'll just kind of send it. Or Dive, for example. Dive is an example of, okay, we're going to set up in positions where if we get the chance to push naturally, we'll take it, and we'll use specials to get further. But if we can't, that's fine. We'll use 1 or 2 specials to force our way in, fight naturally, and then extend our push with more specials later. Compared to kind of front-loading specials at the start, where it's like, okay, this is the only way in. We'll do this, and then we'll just bail. Because so many teams do that. I even see top level do that sometimes, which is not what you want to see. I'm gonna be honest, but is what it is, I guess. Yeah, and there's that jump is so late. What? Why? For why? Why is it just such a common low-level thing to keep jumping? I know you live here, but I'm gonna be honest, you shouldn't have. I'm disappointed in C-Drive. Why the fuck did they let you live? Why did they give you a quad? Why? Why the fuck did they do this? Okay, if your jump was an accident, that's fair. Just, Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm so pissed at the enemy team giving you a fucking quad. Why? It's a Sorry, I'm losing my sanity. It doesn't take much for that, but I'm still losing my sanity. Yeah, this is good. I'd honestly say if you can. Like, I'm looking at this scenario. On your end, like, just looking at some weapon stuff, I'd say on your end, Panther, if you can, throw all of your claims back, rotate up to here, and throw a wall up here. Because you have the easiest time, or because of wall, you have the easiest time covering grates. And if you throw your claims back, you're just gonna have 2 power claims coming into this push. Which, let's do some math. So you score 40 points. I'm going to just, yeah, like, if you get both power claims in here, this should be a lead swap. Or this would be a lead swap. So, like, throwing your claims back, trucking a wall up, having your Dapple just cover down here by themselves, because this is, like, prime Dapple real estate. And you kind of just win the game on that. My prediction of what happens is, again, like, because at this point, it's weird. You are on offense, but you want to spread your force out, because you aren't trying to push through the center of the map when they're pushed up. You're trying to set up to hold so you can score and continue your offense. You're not trying to use offense to get in, so now you want to spread out your force. My prediction is probably what happens is you have 3 people in this area, and something happens through top, and that stops your push. That or you just don't get enough clams because you're going forward and fighting. Good throwing clams back. I wish you threw more back. You just missed, yeah. I don't feel inaccurate in saying that, though, because you kind of have 3 people on the left side. Not quite how I thought it would happen, but still. Yeah, and at this point, it's just a little too late. Like, you had all the right tools. I think it was the order of operations that you did things in. I'm also just thinking back, and I'm like, I'm still wondering what the fuck. Why the hell they didn't just kill you on that jump in, but I don't think I'm ever gonna know, to be honest. Odds are they just didn't see you because they killed one jump and were like, oh, surely you're not gonna get a jump again, but this is good. Again, if you notice your force, like, look at how tightly packed y'all are. Like, if I paused a second earlier, y'all literally were 4 people in one spot. Dapple going forward here is good. If your Dapple has any support, I think you can make this push happen. The issue is at this point, I think y'all are just panicking. Like, just watching y'all play, I think you're panicking. Hi, tiny creature. Do you want some attention? Sorry, my cat just entered my room and is, like, right at my legs. So, it's a tiny creature. They get the priority here. Yeah, Okay. Yeah, like, y'all played that well. Hold up, was this? Okay, this was sent in by y'all. Like, y'all played this well and win, but I'm gonna be honest, I feel they should have won this. Like, I feel it's more so they misplayed compared to y'all won this, if that makes any sense. Okay. Um, let's hit. I might go over one more game. And sorry, my throat is starting to kill me. Since y'all are here, which one would y'all rather go over? Like Zone's Ship or go over the TC Inkblot game? I'm fine going over either. Just I'm gonna say it's a one or the other because my throat is starting to fucking kill me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit your head. I have, yeah, but if y'all wanted to go over that game, that is doable. I don't mind going over it because I was mainly focused on Sage Drive's point of view than compared to y'all's. Yeah, I know, but this would be going over it from your perspective, which would have different insights. Okay. I'm just asking because whatever y'all think would be more helpful, because we can go over a loss or we can go over a win. So I'm giving a second because I want to give the creature some love, and it gives y'all some time. Okay. Let's go over Inkblot. Let's flip to overhead. So the main thing I'm going to look for on this is kind of similar to what I was doing for the last game. I want to see how you're spreading out your force, because I think that's kind of your big issue. Because, like, almost in reverse, you have a 3-1 split, and you have so much force over here, where if something happens, there's nothing really stopping the enemy team from going this way. Like, if your Dapple dies, there's nothing really stopping them from doing that. And your Dread is kind of doing an in-between, which can be helpful, but yeah, y'all spread, like, this, what you're trying to do on defense is you have all of your force in one spot, and the second you start to spread it, you almost overtip your hand, and you spread your force way too thin, which lets them in. This is good. Like, pushing in like this is what you want to do on offense, because if y'all notice, you have one straight line, and that's how you push in. That is literally what you want to do. In this case, it's just a scrap fest, but like, this does just stop them from doing anything fancy. Because like at this point, it's kind of a, hey, do we know there's something up here? Yes, no. If no, okay, we can take second paint and then just start pushing. If yes, just kill it. And now you do, and you can just take tower here. In this case, I just think is a little delayed. That's fine. Yeah, your forces just spread so thin on this. Because, like, now that you're on defense, you know, okay, they want to be one checkpoint ahead. You can just play key positions and just hold your force. Because, like, you can have 96 sit here, throw a wall, and just start shooting a tower. You can have edit stay here. Like, so force coming in like this from edit, force coming in like this from 96, and Dapple can flank around and have force coming like this. And, like, you're spreading out your force over a wider area, but it's all gonna come together in one spot, which is what you want to do for defense and tower in particular. Same with Rain, actually. And arguably Clan Blitz, just this does not quite hold up on zones, or not nearly as much. Like, if y'all notice, your force spread so thin that the enemy team can kind of come in for free. And that's what they do in this case. Like, yes, y'all stop them, but they get down to 71 and they can keep pushing. Like, I think if Viper was a little quicker to notice, hey, something's happening, they double back, truck stamp at tower, and then they either double back to help their team, or they hold bats and kill Panther here. Because 96 dropping Viper in this spot is not a pleasant fight for 96. Even with wall, just because Viper has the same amount of range, really. Yeah, Viper's just a little slow on that, so their own fight is harder. But they still almost win this. Okay, they jump, that's fair. Um, and here I'll point out with your force, if you notice, look at how far spread out it is. Like, this is better, and now it's just funnel your force somewhere. If you're funneling it here, if you're gonna funnel it through here, whatever. You just have to funnel your force forward somehow. Because your force is all together, but if you notice, you're kind of just sitting there. You're not making the enemy team deal with you and respond to your force in any different way. Like here again, if you notice, like look at how tightly packed this force is for not having lead. Like if you have lead, I don't even hate this. Because it's really hard to move you out of it, but you don't have a lead. So like all that's really doing is it's just burning the clock down and making it easier for the enemy team to win. And if I'm the enemy team, okay, I'm gonna just put some force this way. I'm gonna have my flings come in like this. I'm gonna have my edit come in like this and just support that. And we already have Viper coming in this way. And there's just this massive collection of force that ends up right here, which is right where your team is. And my cat has fallen asleep on my chair. Oh well. Like if you notice, like what's happening from y'all's point of view is like you're clumping together super tightly, and then you're spreading out super far, and then you're coming back together super tightly, and then you're going back super far away from each other, and it's just kind of repeating that. And like when y'all have a one, it's when you're pushing, your force is super together, and when you're defending, your force is kind of split apart. I think on y'all's end, if you can get that more in sync with when you're pushing and when you're defending, it'll help a lot. Yeah. Here in this case, like I want to point out, your force is being spread out here, which is good. This is what you want to see. So if you have someone going through here, ideally you probably want someone else coming through here, and then you have someone coming. Then you have two people coming through here, which this is literally what you want to see. This is good. Like this defense is successful in y'all's favor, and that's why. Because like, you spread out here, they aren't ready for it, and now you can play offense because they just aren't in position to deal with it because of how spread out your force is. Then Kraken dies, and if you notice, you start, or not Kraken, it doesn't die, but it runs out of time. And then you kind of go back to, okay, we're going to clump together super tightly, and now we're going to spread out, and you aren't forcing your force forward. Because, like, here on offense, look at how tightly packed y'all are. This is good, but it has to be going forward. Like, you can have two people go through here, and one person go through here, and then one person my tower. And this would be incredibly impactful, and this would probably win you the game, considering how tightly packed everyone is. Like in this case, y'all are so tightly packed, and then you spread apart. And I know some of that was missed, but you spread apart, and then they come in and kind of just kill you. And this is how they've been setting up most of their pushes. Nice kill from Kraken. You know, like I want to point out, the second you start splitting up your force a little bit, because you already got past the hard part of the stage, which is like here to here, which is where you want to clump up. Because now you can start spreading out your force. So you have someone go over here, they get a kill. You have someone go through bats, they get a kill. And now if you just hold like here and here, this is a really dominant push, which is really hard for them to deal with. Especially because you have a Kraken, or not a Kraken, you have a special. But like, then you back up so far, and you aren't a checkpoint ahead of tower. And what's going to happen, like, we can look at the graph, and we can just point out what's gonna happen before it even happens. Like, because you aren't watching like a checkpoint ahead, which would be like, I know that I'm on the right side. This is more than a checkpoint. Like, ideally, you want to be holding out to here because no one's holding this far ahead, which is again at least a checkpoint ahead. They get in for free, and this is what kills your push because no one's watching it. And again, look at how tightly packed you are on tower. Like, at this point, you've already gotten through the hard part of your push, and now you can just have someone play here and hold here, someone play here and hold here, and you're just playing defense until tower gets up to here. And then once tower gets up to here, cool. You then play offense, and you start getting up to here, and then you hold out to here, and you're still holding up here. And then once you break this checkpoint, you can just sync up your force, or you can just continue playing defense. And either is fine. Like, in playing how y'all did, in, again, being super, super tight together and then splitting apart so far, you give the Wiper a quad. Yeah, like, at this point, good on your defense, it's split apart, and then it comes together really, really tightly, which makes it a little hard. Like, this defense is good. Like, if y'all notice, your force isn't all on top of itself, and it's coming from multiple different directions, which is what you want to see. Sorry, I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but, like, that really is the big thing on this game, and my throat is starting to kill me even more, so... Yeah, this will definitely be the last game I review, though. Like, here, this is fine-ish, just, again, right now, you're wanting to play offense, and, like, you have 2 people over here, you have 1 person over here, and you have 1 person over here. Your force is so spread out that you can't condense it down to get a push started. And, like, here, it's even more spread apart. Like, the big thing that happens here, because this is where y'all start getting your push, is really you just use specials to get everything going. But y'all can do this just with where you're positioning and where you're fighting. Because in this case, your forces spread apart, and now it comes together to get a push going. Oh wait, right, I remember. This is where Flingza could have absolutely just won the game. And Flingza just got afraid. Like, in this case, I want to point out with your force, if you notice, your edit was starting to go forward. If your dapples come forward here, this is incredibly impactful, because dapple goes through here, edit comes through here, and you kind of just crossfire this edit, this thing dies, and then you just focus on plat. And, like, in this case, you can have a 96 come up through here, and have someone right tower, and, like, this is incredibly good for a push. Just your push has to condense together somewhere to have enough force to, you know, brute force through it. Instead, now Dapple's kind of left alone, and now it's just messy. And your force is so split, which you don't want on a push. And, like, kind of what ends up happening here is the enemy team just misplays one too many fights, I think. Oh, no, it's not even that. Like, y'all play right. Just the enemy team gives you so much space for free. Because I'll be honest, I think you lose this game if Flingza just decides they want to commit in and fight. Like, the big thing that's been happening is your force is so spread out. Like, this is good. Your force is very together. You get in and you push. This is incredibly good. I think half of why this works is the Flingza is afraid. Not saying that y'all did the wrong thing, but Flingza should have made it harder and made the play much more contested. Like, in y'all going forward together now your force is all together. Ideally, you want to spread out your force soon-ish, but your force is all together, and this is where your push is successful, if you notice. And, like, the reason is you had enough force to get through. At some point, you just have to get up through here with tower, and you have to do something about bats, and you have to do something about their plat all at the same time. Oops, I wanted to hit delete, not undo one, but that's, like, at this point, it's kind of just game. And it just gets played out. Like, at this point, it was already game, because you had a Kraken going into overtime. And they wouldn't have had many options to really stop you. Anyways, I'm gonna ask if you all have any questions, and if not, I'm going to end stream and go rest my throat. Because, we went through, like, 6 games fairly in depth. Yeah, of course, thank you all for sending in the replays, because, this was kind of a thing I wanted to do on a whim, because it just sounded fun. Because I don't I don't think there's enough coaches who do stuff like this for low level, which kind of sucks. I wish there were more coaches who would just do this stuff for low level and just have more public resources. But I see a lot of stuff whenever this is done of just, oh hey, we're gonna just do this for one team and that's it. But yeah, I will give it a second. So if you have any questions, take your time and write them. If not, I will call it. Oh yeah, glad I could be of assistance. I'm trying to think if I have. Here, let me check actually real quick and let me see if I have anything on my channel. From past reviews. That might be a helpful watch to y'all if positioning stuff has been a struggle. Let me hold this up real quick. Cool. When did the Tourney VOD get to like 47 views? What? That could be helpful. Give me a second to grab a link. I'm checking to make sure that I'm not missing anything else. No, none of these. No, because that's a mindset-based one. Business could be helpful, but I don't think it would be the biggest thing ever. Here, this. If you get the chance, I'd take a look at that. Because that might be helpful for positioning stuff. In answer, I don't really think you're playing too aggressive for dapples. Like, I honestly think you're playing it just about the right pace. Personal bias, I think you can play more aggressive. Like, here, let me see if I have any reviews from when I was last playing. Which, don't mind my mechanics, they have been, going to shit for a variety of reasons. Where are... Let's see... What game is this? That was when... Okay. So I'm trying to remember things. Because I play a variety of games, and I've just not played in a second, so I don't remember a good chunk of these. Oh my god, there's no way I get two different fucking bots in here asking me to get more viewers or offering more viewers. Fuck you, get out of here. Be gone. Be gone. Let's see. That was a DC game. Yeah. I don't think I have anything that would be meaningful to look over right now. Yeah, no, not really. I'd offer to play a game, but I'm not doing that during Fest. Screw that. I'm not a fan of Splatfest, really. But to answer, I think you're playing fine. I don't think you're doing anything too egregious. Fair enough, I respect it. Anyways, if y'all have no more questions, or have nothing else besides that, I'm probably gonna call it there, just to go rest my throat. This shit is killing me. Thank y'all for tuning in and sending replays. I will probably have this up and downloaded, hopefully before the end of this week. But yeah, have a good whatever time of the day y'all are having. I'd say evening, or I guess afternoon would be more accurate, but I don't know. There could be a random EU player in here, or watching this, or even Oceania, but that is unlikely. Anyways, see y'all.